I don't know if it is Su Han's own illusion. From his point of view, everything becomes very slow, very slow. This slow feeling is like watching a 0.1x speed slideshow. Soon, Su Han discovered that it wasn't that things had slowed down, but that his speed was too fast. From his perspective, Li Changdu became very small, incomparably small as an ant. Next second, Su Han's aura burst out, covering the entire Fulong city almost instantly. And Li Changdu's burst of aura was also swallowed up in this instant, as if a stone had been thrown into an endless abyss, without even a single wave. Li Changdu also froze in place as if petrified. At this moment, the setting sun has not sunk yet. But the world has darkened. Looking up, I realized that it turned out to be a dark cloud, covering the sky above Fulong City, and the whole Fulong City was under the shadow. Su Han stood in the void and became the only one. At this moment, everyone is looking at this scene in the void. Quiet. Dead still. Even the sound of the wind is gone. At this moment, Hu Donglai, who was standing on the ground holding a spear, was completely stunned. Even one didn't hold it steady, and the gun in his hand slowly slipped down. When it hit the ground, there was a clang sound of gold and stone. He knew that Mr. Su might be very powerful, but he never thought that he would be so powerful. This can no longer be described with the word powerful. This is horror, the horror of absolute strength. When the strength reaches a certain level, people feel that the hairs stand on end, because the heart can't control the breathing of terror. Anyone who has eyes and can see this scene can see the difference. Li Changdu, completely suppressed. This moment, Li Changdu found that his spiritual power seemed to be frozen. No matter how he mobilized or operated his spiritual power, it was of no avail. It can even be felt that even the blood in the body has stopped flowing. Not only that, he even had difficulty breathing, causing his entire face to turn blue and purple for a while. His mind was blank. At this moment, the ability to think was lost. Facing Su Han, it was as if he was a small and weak ant, standing on the incomparably majestic Mount Tai, unable to even look up. Gap. A chasm-like gap. Soon, regret grew in his heart. Once the intention to retreat is born, it will breed crazily. In an instant, he was begging for mercy. Although there is no real fight yet, the opponent just uses his breath to make him lose his fighting ability. Is there still a need to fight? He's not even qualified to fight Su Han. However, his throat was rolling, and he couldn't make a sound no matter what. He couldn't even beg for mercy. Su Han looked at Li Changdu with cold eyes. He slowly closed his fingers. Next second, the space around Li Changdu began to collapse, swallowing towards Li Changdu's body. Ah! Finally, a scream came. His hands and feet had been crushed by space. After Su Han's 5 fingers were completely closed, Li Changdu's body was swallowed by the collapsed space. Not even a corpse was left, and dissipated between heaven and earth. Following Li Changdu's death, everyone froze in place, not recovering for a long time. This moment, the setting sun is completely lonely. The sky and the earth are empty and silent in the night. Su Han stepped on the top of Fulong City, like the only one in the darkness, not a god, but at this moment he looks like a god. Just like that, there was no more noise in the entire Fulong City. A gust of wind blows from nowhere. It blew past Fulong City, and also blew Su Han's clothes. In Fulong City, in a tea house, a middle-aged man with a white towel hanging from his neck stood in place. His eyes fell through the window and fell on the figure in the void. In his eyes, there are excitement, joy, envy, and many, many. That figure, like his childhood fantasy, gradually merged together. It is the dream of every monk to hold the moon and look down at the heaven and earth. Perhaps seeing this scene, he also made a decision in his heart. He asked himself in his heart, "Are you really old? Is my journey to immortality come to an end?" These 2 questions, no one can answer him, only himself. But at this moment, he had a decision in his mind. Not just him. At this moment, Su Han's back was deeply engraved in the hearts of countless monks in Lulong City who had dreams. Whether it's a proud young man, or an old man. Those youthful youths who have just touched the immortal way are also looking up at the night sky obsessively, and the seeds in their hearts are also quietly planting. Su Han himself didn't know. Today's scene has become the hope and goal of many monks on their way of practice. Of course, today's scene will also become the most amazing stroke in the history of Fulong City. Fu Long Wanyue, the only way, he is both the way and the only one. In this way, it was quiet for half an hour. Hu Donglai stood upright, holding the gun behind his back with one hand, and put the other hand on his chest. He opened his throat and exhausted his loudest voice. Master Xie, cut off the fine work of Yu Deu, and saved Fu Long from the water and fire, sir, is righteous. This sentence spread throughout Fulong City. Immediately afterwards, voices came out one after another. Mr. Duya. Mr. Duya. Mr. Duya. These voices spread far away and spread to the horizon, the other side of the sky. It reverberates for a long time, and it has not stopped for a long time. Have to say, Hu Donglai is very smart, he said this sentence very timely. Because killing the city lord of Fulong City in public is equivalent to directly hitting the royal family in the face. In this special war period, it even has the meaning of rebellion. However, this sentence turned Su Han's behavior into an act of righteousness. In addition, no one will pursue Su Han's prestige in Rune Dragon City, even if they want to investigate, they can't find anything. Moreover, with the strength shown by Su Han, the current royal family still dare not offend. Not only did he not dare to offend, he would even throw out an olive branch to win him over. Since Li Changdu was killed, the past has passed. On the first day, the entire Fulong City went completely crazy. Wherever they went, they could hear the residents in the city discussing that night with red faces and excited faces. But the next day, the residents of Fulong City seemed to realize something and restrained themselves a lot. On the third day, everyone returned to normal life. This is because the city lord of Fulong City had just died, and they were discussing so excitedly that they would be suspected of helping Mr. Su to force the death of the city lord Li. They all understand a truth. If a tree is beautiful in the forest, the wind will destroy it, and what they did was also protecting Su Han. Because behind Fulong City is the royal family. When Li Changdu became the city lord of Fulong City, the emperor personally came to crown him. This spontaneous cohesion is unprecedented in Fulong City. This kind of spontaneous crowding around someone, when you think about it carefully, is very scary. To put it bluntly, even if the emperor came to Fulong City, he would not be able to achieve Su Han's cohesion. Talisman Dragon pulls the moon, cuts through the void. This incident, like a meteorite falling into a calm lake, directly exploded in the entire Dagon Empire. Fulong City, one of the three major cities of the Ying'an Empire. The lord of the city, Li Changdu, was the leader of the younger generation in the last era, a fashionista. As early as more than 1,000 years ago, it was already known as the Great Dive Empire. Later, when he was only 2,000 years old, he set foot in the Shattering Void realm. At that time, it also caused an earthquake in the entire Daqin Empire, and the scenery was infinite for a while. He directly replaced the old city lord at that time and became the new city lord of Fulong City. On the day he became the lord of Fulong City, he was crowned as the emperor himself. The name Li Changdu, in the Daqin Empire, is the representative of supreme strength, supreme status, and supreme glory. However, it was such a person who was beheaded on the spot by a monk in Fulong City where he was. It is said, the news from Fulong City was that Li Changdu had defected to the Dayu Empire and became a secret agent. Then he was beheaded by that powerful monk. As for that powerful monk, in Fulong City, he seems to be called Master Su. In fact, no matter whether Li Changdu took refuge in the Dayu Empire or not, there is no proof of his death. After all, everyone is dead. However, this is not the focus of people. Their focus was on the cultivator who beheaded Li Changdu, who was said to be very young. Moreover, according to some news from Fu Longcheng, Li Changdu was completely crushed unilaterally, and he didn't even have a chance to fight back. In the entire Daqin Empire, there are not many monks who can easily crush Li Changdu, and there are not many monks who can even count their fingers. After all, Li Changdu is the supreme power of the Shattering Void realm, and he is already one of the handful of people who stood up for the Daqin Empire Pyramid Project. In the entire Daqin Empire, how many Shattering Void realms have set foot? And what kind of cultivation realm does that cultivator who crushes Li Changdu arbitrarily get? Such a person should have become famous in the Daqin Empire. After being exposed, it is impossible to have a mysterious identity. Imperial City. A Zijin hall rose from the ground. The surrounding halls are surrounded by rows of purple and gold halls. From a distance, luck is like a dragon, the emperor is mighty, majestic and sacred. This study room is not very big. What catches the eye is a screen, on which a 9-clawed golden dragon is engraved, extremely majestic. In front of the screen, sat a middle-aged man wearing a white-lined robe. He was sitting upright in front of the desk, on which was a new envelope. Tapping the table with fingers, thinking about Su-han. This day, a palace eunuch wearing dark blue, a fur hat, and gray hair came to Fulong City. It is said that it brought the imperial decree of the emperor. Therefore, the residents and monks in Fulong City seemed to have come to the street, ready to receive the imperial edict. They were very uneasy in their hearts, fearing that the royal family would take action against Master Su. After all, Master Su killed Li Chengdu. My lord, eunuch Lan from the palace has come with an imperial edict? Probably aimed at you, my lord. Hu Donglai came to Su-han's courtyard, and said with his hands clasped. Su-han just responded softly, then raised his head, looked at the spirit boat above the void, and his gaze also fell on the eunuch standing on the deck. The eunuch's name is Lan Yuyuan, his cultivation has reached the Purple Mansion realm, and his status in the palace is extremely high. For this eunuch Lan to bring the imperial decree in person, it seems that there is something important to announce. Lan Yuyuan slowly opened the imperial decree in his hand, looking at the imperial decree, his loud voice echoed in Fulong City. After the reading, the general meaning is that Sha Feng Su Dian is the new city king of Tron City. After hearing this news, the entire Fulong City erupted into appalling cheers. Seeing the situation in Fulong City so emotional, Lan Yuyuan also looked shocked. According to the information he learned, the monk who beheaded Li Chengdu was not a resident of Fulong City. He beheaded and killed their old city lord, and yet he can still get such a crowd of love. It seems not easy. After listening, Lu Donglai also breathed a sigh of relief. Then, with an excited expression on his face, he clasped his fists at Su-han and said, "Congratulations, my lord." Heard the words. Su-han frowned. He was ready to tear his face with the royal family. After all, it was equivalent to slapping that old emperor directly. But unexpectedly, not only did the old emperor not pursue it, but he also directly named himself the city lord. The announcement of the imperial decree caught Su-han a little off guard. He is really not interested in this city lord at all. Is there any advantage to being a city lord besides fame and status? Xiao Hu, can I take care of it? Su-han asked Hu Donglai in front of him. Hearing these words, Hu Donglai's complexion changed drastically, and he hurriedly waved his hands and said, my lord, never, never. My lord, don't underestimate the position of the city lord of Fulong City. This position is not just a false name, but also has great interests and profits behind it. My lord, you can follow up the imperial decree first, and the subordinates will talk to you slowly in a while. Lu Donglai is extremely anxious at the moment, but he knows his temper as a grown-up, and it is really possible that he rejected the imperial edict. This is already the biggest setback in sincerity of the royal family. Once it is rejected, it will be a complete betrayal. Hearing Lu Donglai's words, Su-han frowned and asked, do you need to kneel down to receive the imperial edict? Hearing this, Lu Donglai replied, yes, just kneel on one knee. Next second, with a wave of Su-han's hand, the imperial decree in Lan Yuan's hand fell off and flew towards Su-han. Immediately, an ethereal voice came, got it. Those two short words, coupled with this attitude, made Lan Yu so angry that he blew his beard and stared. When the imperial decree arrived, they didn't even kneel down to greet each other. What kind of attitude is this? It's like begging him to be the city lord. In fact, what Lan Yuyuan didn't know was that the man in the palace really begged him to be the city lord. Although he was upset inside, he didn't dare to show it. This Su-han is a ruthless person who even killed Li Chengdu directly. He is a small purple mansion, and he dare not jump around casually. After the task was completed, he drove the spirit boat and left in a hurry. This Fulong City has completely changed, and he dare not stay any longer. In this way, Yinhan became the new city king of Tron City in a daze. When the strength reaches a certain level, the status is only an accessory. This sentence is really true. With the strength and potential shown by Su-han, it is no longer a question of whether he can be the city lord, but a question of the royal family begging Su-han to be the city lord. Congratulations to Lord Su. From now on, Lord Su will be the new city lord of Fulong City. After seeing Su-han successfully became the city lord, Hu Donglai was happier than Su-han. Although he has only been with Master Su for not long, he can feel that only by following Master Su can he develop better, and he also loves and embraces him sincerely. Tell me, what are the specific benefits of being the city lord? Su-han is still concerned about this aspect. If there is no benefit to being a city lord other than a false name, then he would quit immediately, which would affect his own investment and development. My lord, I have been here in Fulong City for many years. Except for Li Changdu, no one knows how to treat Longcheng better than me. My lord, you also know that Fulong City is one of the 3 major cities of the Dagon Empire. Except for the imperial city that can overwhelm Fulong City, there is no city in the entire sky that can overwhelm Longcheng. The area of Fulong City is 5 times larger than that of the imperial city, and Fulong City is very rich. The industries involved in it, such as auctions, pills, magic weapons, etc., are the largest in the Daqin Empire. There are countless sects out there, all of whom want to set up businesses in Fulong City. My lord has mastered Fulong City, which is equivalent to directly mastering the channels of 6% of the entire Daqin Empire. To put it bluntly, except for those top holy places, just a word from your lord can decide the life and death of 90% of the sects in the Daqin Empire. The benefits of Hu Donglai being the city lord have already been listed. After listening, Su Han was still a little interested. Moreover, I don't have to do anything at all, just be a happy city lord and enjoy the benefits. No wonder Li Changdu cared so much about his status as the city lord, and tried every means to get rid of Su Han. There was a reason for that. The most important thing is that it will not affect Su Han's investment training, and the resources, information, etc. he owns also greatly facilitate Su Han's investment. Good. Su Han smiled. My lord, I'm going to deal with some things. I found some old sins of Li Changdu, which still remain in the city. Hu Donglai said. Go. Su Han waved his hand. The news that Su Han beheaded Li Changdu and became the new city lord spread throughout the Tiangan Empire again. That's Fulong City, the birth of a new city lord. It's not an exaggeration to say that it will change the structure of the Daqin Empire. In the Daqin Empire, many sect families have begun to think about how to manage their relationship. After all, if one's own sect family wants to develop, it still cannot bypass Junlong City. This moment. In the imperial city. When Qian Yuer heard the news, she was also extremely excited. She knew that she was right, that Su Big Brother would never be a mediocre person, he only needs to be able to soar upwards and overlook the world when encountering wind and rain. After hearing the news, her inner thoughts became stronger. Gotta start planning. The distant illusory cloud sect. Regarding this explosive news, Great Elder Zhao Changhe, of course, also learned of this news. Since Wang Tian died in the secret treasury, a young elder replaced Wang Tian as Zhao Changhe's celebrity. This young elder is only over 300 years old, but he has already reached the 3rd level of the spiritual sea. His name was Mu Gui, and he was Zhao Changhe's former junior. He was originally a wandering casual cultivator, but now he was called back by Zhao Changhe and became an intersect elder, which can be regarded as retirement. Brother Zhao, have you heard about Fu Longcheng? Mu Gui found Zhao Changhe excitedly and talked about this matter with him. Heard. The old city lord of Fulong City was actually killed in the city. In Zhao Changhe's eyes, Li Changdu is an old senior living in legendary, with supreme power. When he learned that such a character was actually killed, he also had an unreal dreamy feeling. Brother Zhao, your news is behind. That city lord Li was not just killed, he was suppressed unilaterally, and he didn't even have a chance to fight against him. Furthermore, the news came only yesterday that the supreme powerhouse who killed city lord Li has been canonized as the new city lord. The structure of the Dagon Empire has changed again. Mu Gui's expression was very excited. Although he was at the spiritual sea level, in the eyes of many monks outside, he was also a powerful senior. However, in front of people of the level of the city lord of Fulong City, he is just a small ant, and he can only look up to him for a lifetime. Hey, we are all little people. If you can live your own life well and take care of yourselves for the rest of your life, that's pretty good. Zhao Changhe sighed. According to his age, he is already in his twilight years, and it is hopeless to break through to the Purple Mansion realm in this life. By the way, have you heard about the new city lord? Mu Gui suddenly thought of something, and said to Zhao Changhe. What? New Castellan. Do not know much. After all, Zhao Changhe is just an elder of Huan Yunchang. The things he has come into contact with are too limited, and he cannot know the level of Fulongcheng. I have an old friend who lives in Fulong City. He told me that the new city lord is extremely powerful. And, most importantly, very light. According to his visual inspection, it is conservatively estimated that the age will definitely not exceed 200 years old. Mu Gui lowered his voice and said excitedly, not more than 200 years old? The original city lord of Fulong City is from the Taishu realm or the Shattering Void realm. Zhao Changhe was extremely shocked. 200 years old, in his opinion, is really too young, not much different from youth. It must be the shattering void realm. Brother Zhao, do you have any misunderstandings about Fulongcheng? Fulong City, one of the three major cities of the Dagon Empire, second only to the imperial city. Also, the name Li Chengdu, doesn't it sound familiar to you? Mu Gui rolled his eyes at his senior brother, and said word by word. Li Chengdu, Ji Changming. Could it be the Li Shengze who used to dominate the Qianlong rankings, the Li Shengze who has been in the ring for 100 years? Zhao Chonghe suddenly recalled some past events. In his era, the name Li Chengdu was very popular. That's right, senior brother Zhao. I think you are an elder in the illusory cloud sect, are you confused? You don't know that Li Chengdu is the lord of Fulong City until now? Mu Gui asked Zhao Chonghe with a strange expression. It is only now that I know that I have been in the illusory cloud sect for most of my life, and all I care about are the affairs of the sect. Zhao Chonghe replied. You mean, a monk who was less than 200 years old killed Ji Chongguan who had stepped into the Zhou-breaking realm. Only then did Zhao Chonghe realize the horror of this matter. Pay attention to the wording, it is unilateral crushing. Li Chengdu is not even qualified to fight against the current new city lord. I haven't found out the exact name of the new city lord, but what I can confirm is that the surname is Su. Mugi continued. Su? Less than 200 years old? For some reason, when these two conditions were combined, a figure suddenly appeared in his mind. At this time, he shouted to the outside of the hall, Minister. At this time, a middle-aged deacon came in, clasped his fists and said, Grand Elder. Go to the Sutra Pavilion to see if Elder Su is still there. I haven't paid much attention to him recently. The words fell. The middle-aged deacon replied, Great Elder, Elder Su is no longer in the Sutra Pavilion. Kindness. Where did he go? Zhao Chonghe asked. I do not know. Anyway, Elder Su has been away from illusory cloud sect for a long time, probably a year. The middle-aged deacon replied, Kindness. I see, you step back. Zhao Chonghe waved his hand and said. Brother Zhao. What's wrong? Elder Su in the Sutra Pavilion, who is it? However, during the time I have been here, I have often heard some disciples talk about this Elder Su, and I plan to find a chance to ask you. Mu Gui was summoned by Zhao Chonghe to the illusory cloud sect in the past few months, so when he came, Su Han had already gone down the mountain. Su Han. I used to be an outside elder of our illusory cloud sect, but I was later promoted to the inner sect as the elder of the Sutra Pavilion. He is very popular in the illusory cloud sect. Whether it is a disciple or other elders, they all like him. Zhao Chonghe said. Oh, illusory cloud sect has such an interesting person, it seems that we know each other. Mugi said with a smile. Wait? Su Han, is your surname Su? Brother Zhao. How old is he? Mu Gui suddenly became excited, grabbed Zhao Chengyi's cuff and asked. Zhao Chonghe replied. It's more than 100 years old. Hearing this, Mu Gui's eyes widened all of a sudden, couldn't be. Alright. Junior brother Mu, stop guessing. When Su Han entered the inner sect a few years ago, he was only at the Yuan realm. Hearing what Zhao Chonghe said, Mu Gui also sighed heavily, feeling very excited. He also thought that the new city lord was his colleague in the illusory cloud sect. If that's the case, if he touches a little bit of light, he, Murray, will take off. Not only him alone, but the entire illusory cloud sect has to take off. Those great people are not within our reach. Hey, junior brother Mu, you are younger than me and still have great potential. You should focus more on training. I believe you still have hope of breaking through to the Purple Mansion. Zhao Chonghe said earnestly, Purple Mansion? Don't dare to think, in this life, if you can touch the threshold of the Shanshan realm, you will be satisfied. Mugi said with a wry smile, illusory cloud sect. Tibetan scripture pavilion. It has been a year since Su Han left. For Tianyue, a year is just a snap of the fingers. But I don't know why, this year passed very slowly. During the year Su Han left, she was the one who took care of all the big and small matters in the Sutra Pavilion. These disciples who came to the Kangjing Pavilion also knew the relationship between Tianyue and Elder Su, so they respected Tianyue very much and were very polite, and they all said, Senior Sister Su Yu. Today, some disciples in the Sutra Pavilion seem to be discussing one thing. Tianyue also noticed. Sister Su Yu, I'm going to borrow these exercises. A rather simple-looking inner disciple put the selected exercises on the counter and said respectfully. A total of 500 low-grade spirit stones. Thank you, Senior Sister Su. When the disciple was about to turn around and leave, Tianyue stopped him and asked, "Can you tell me about the Fulong city you discussed recently?" Heard the words. The disciple scratched the back of his head and said, "Senior Sister Su, I don't really understand it either. I heard that the original city lord of Fulong City was killed, and then a new city lord took over. That's all I know." Hearing this, Tianyue continued to ask, "What's the name of the new city lord?" The disciple touched his nose and said, "I don't know the exact name, and everyone doesn't know. I only know. The surname seems to be Su. I'm not sure either." The words fell. Tian Yu already had the answer in his heart. Kindness. I see. Go and do your work. She sighed quietly in her heart, as long as she knew that he didn't die outside. However, to Tianyu's surprise, that kid Su Han actually made such a big splash outside. It's not like his style. What's more, Su Han's strength has risen too fast. It's been less than a year since he went out, and his strength has risen so fast that even she dared not stop. The identity of the owner of Fulong City is very mysterious. No one knew his specific name or where he came from, only that he was a very young-looking revisionist. In fact, only a few people know about the true identity of the new city lord. Qian Liping, the emperor in the imperial city, and Jin Yuanbao. Because with the means of the emperor and Qian Liping, it is easy to find out Su Han's true identity. After all, almost all the intelligence networks of the Daqin Empire are in the hands of the two of them. But in fact, the real overlord behind the Dagon Empire is not the royal family, but those three top holy places: Taiyi Holy Land, Baguio Holy Land, Tibetan Sword Villa. Among the three top holy places, Hidden Sword Villa is slightly inferior, because the reason why Hidden Sword Villa can be ranked in this position is because of the old sword god in Hidden Sword Villa. As long as that old sword god survives, Hidden Sword Villa will always be able to overwhelm the royal family and surpass them. Among the three top holy lands, especially the Taiyi Holy Land, it is not so much the overlord, it is better to say that it is the royal family of the Dagon Empire. It exists attached to Taiyi Zindi City. The Taiyi Holy Land is the most mysterious, it is very special, and it hardly cares about the world. Even now that the Dagon Empire and the Dayu Empire were in a decisive battle, the Taiyi Holy Land only provided some material help. It seems that in their eyes, the Daqin Empire is indestructible, and the relationship is not good. Perhaps in their eyes, the empire is gone, and another one can be supported. It has been almost a month since the Fulongcheng incident. In the world of cultivating immortals, no matter how big the matter is, it will be diluted by the boring time. During this month, many heads of sects came to Fulong City from thousands of miles away. They wanted to meet the new city lord, but they all stayed behind closed doors. The identity of the new city lord has become more and more mysterious. People only know that the new city lord, whose surname is Su, is Lord Su Chang. After Su Han became the city lord, he left everything to Lu Dongsu. Just be the lord of Happy City by yourself, just for a name, and it will not affect Su Han's investment and training. After this month's investment, Su Han's cultivation has infinitely approached the Broken Realm, and he is only a step away from the Broken Realm. But this is a step in the door, and it is very difficult to take a step forward. Su Han is also planning to leave Fulong City. After all, Fu Longcheng's oil and water have been almost exhausted by him, and the rest are some monks with yellow and white luck. With Su Han's current state, investing in these levels of luck is already a drop in the bucket for him. To break through to Broken Realm, he has to find a cultivator with at least purple luck to break through in one fell swoop. Moreover, Tianyu's physical body has already been prepared. Have to go back. It's been more than a year since I left. Su Han's system is mainly an investment. While improving his strength, it also brings a greater effect to Su Han. That's what captivates people. Although Su Han didn't deliberately develop his own power, he didn't have the time and experience to do so. But in fact, unknowingly, his power has become very powerful. Whether it is a disciple of the illusory cloud sect or a resident monk of Fulong City, anyone who has received Su Han's investment and help has unknowingly become Su Han's influence. Su Han only needs to raise his arms and shout, behind him, there are thousands of people. It's as if Su Han has only come to this Fulong City for just 1 year, the entire Fulong City. It became Su Han's dark force. There is no way, the function of this system is like this: wherever you go, where you invest, and where you win over. This day, Su Han called Hu Donglai in front of him. Little Hu, I'm leaving Fulong City soon. Hearing this sentence, Donglai said, Are you planning to travel, my lord? That's right. How soon will your lord be back? Su Han paused and said, I don't know. In fact, Su Han didn't know if he would come back to Fulong City in the future. Because in the final analysis, in Su Han's eyes, Fulong City is just a place for him to gain experience. If Su Han wants to continue to develop, it is impossible to stay in this Fulong City forever, so the speed of cultivation will become slower and slower. After all, in Fulong City, those who have high luck and are worthy of investment have all invested. If I continue to stay, I don't know that it will be possible to break through to Broken Realm in the year of the monkey. From now on, I will leave all the big and small things in Fulong City to you. Su Han said to Hu Dong. The subordinate understands. The subordinates will always wait for your return. If your lord is in danger, you just need to tell me, and I will take the entire Fulong City to support you. Hu Donglai is very smart. He knows Master Su is not a thing in the pool, he is a dragon in the sky. It is impossible to stay in this small place of Fulong City. Fulong City is very big, but for Mr. Su, it is really too small. Not to mention Fulong City, the entire Daqin Empire, in the entire Lingyuan continent, is very small. Leave is inevitable. But Hu Donglai didn't expect that it would be so fast. Hearing Hu Donglai's words, Su Han froze for a moment, but still felt a little touched. Before I knew it, there seemed to be many people standing behind me. When will my lord leave? My subordinate will prepare a chariot and spirit boat for you. No need. I'm leaving alone. Su Han's status is very hot now, he doesn't want to draw attention anymore. I just want to leave Fulong City quietly, just like when I came here, come alone and leave alone. Then, my lord, when are we leaving? The words fell. Su Han stood up, patted the gray layer on his body, let's go now. Seeing this, Hu Donglai was a little at a loss. After Su Han walked to the door, Hu Donglai suddenly thought of something, and said, My lord, Fu Longcheng will always stand behind you and obey your orders. Heard the words. Su Han paused, smiled, and disappeared in place. After Su Han leaves, Hu Donglai stood where he was, with mixed emotions in his heart. In fact, he really wanted to leave with Master Su, but he was too weak to ride to keep up with Master Su's footsteps. Then, he will stay in Fulong City, work for Master Su, and become Master Su's backup force. No matter when, he will always be Master Su's subordinate. As long as Mr. Su encounters difficulties, he will take everyone without hesitation. Kill it. Before Su Han left Fulong City, came to a place, he's about to say goodbye to an old friend. Now. It was almost dusk. Su Han stood in front of a tea house, opened the door, and walked in. He found that the layout and facilities of the tea house had changed. He looked around for a week, but found no familiar aura. At this time, a middle-aged man wearing a long gown with a thin face came out. After seeing Su Han, he could feel the man's extraordinary bearing and strong aura, and then he cupped his fists and said, My guest officer, this shop is about to close. It's really embarrassing, this skinny man had only entered Fulong City for a few days. Although he knew that Fulong City had changed to a new city lord, he didn't know what the new city lord looked like. Therefore, Su Han was not recognized. Where's the shopkeeper Wang? Su Han asked. Oh, it turned out to be a regular customer of shopkeeper Wang. Shopkeeper Wang sold the tea house and transferred it. I also came from another city and took over the tea house of shopkeeper Wang. The skinny man continued to sigh. Hey, most of the customers now come to shopkeeper Wang. After I took over, the business is poor. If it weren't for this tea house, which had something to do with that big man, it would probably have closed down long ago. The big man, mentioned by the skinny man, is the new city lord of Fulong City. When he took over this tea house, he heard that the former new city lord liked to drink tea in this tea house. It is because of this relationship that after he took over, the tea house will not close down. There will be many people to take care of the business, but the business is still not as good as usual. What about the shopkeeper Wang? Su Han was surprised. In his understanding, Wang Wen is a person who regards his tea house as his home, and it is impossible to sell the tea house easily. In fact, Su Han has been in Fulong City for so long, and the person he admires the most is Wang Wen. He is a person who is sincere in heart, neither humble nor overbearing, honest in character, and meticulous in his work. He even gave up his own life to stand in front of him for Su Han. Even if Wang Wen's luck is bad, he is the person Su Han admires the most in Fulongcheng. Therefore, before he left, he came to him because he was planning to give him a fortune. I don't know, I heard that I went to the imperial city, right? I don't know the details. The skinny man replied with a smile. Kindness. Excuse me. With that said, Su Han turned around and left. It seems that Wang Wen also has his own opportunities in life, and I wish him the best of luck in finding his new life ideal. After Su Han left, the skinny man looked at Su Han's leaving back and scratched the back of his head, feeling something was wrong. This young man's appearance, temperament, etc. Why does it resemble that new city lord? Leaving Fulong City, standing on a mountain peak, this is where Su Han stood on the day he came to Dragon City. At that time, he was still admiring the size of Fulong City. But for some reason, the current him, still standing in this position, feels that Fu Longcheng is very small. Perhaps this is the meaning of will be the top of the mountain, and look at the mountains and small mountains. Just as Hu Donglai said, even if he left Fulongcheng, that Fulong City is still Su Han's backup force. As long as Su Han needs it, the entire Fulong City can be used by him. Next second, the space around Su Han began to shrink and shrink, wrapping Su Han together, and then gradually shrinking. It turned into a tiny space particle, and after blending into the space, it shuttled in a certain direction. In the blink of an eye, Su Han appeared at the door of the Sutra Pavilion of Huan Yunzong. This is Su Han's space shuttle. As long as he has a thought, he can shuttle to any space in the Daqin Empire. When Su Han appeared at the door of the Sutra Pavilion, he happened to meet a disciple coming out of the Sutra Pavilion. The moment he saw Su Han, he was startled as if he had seen a ghost. He took a step back, and when he saw who was coming, he was immediately pleasantly surprised. Elder Su, you are finally back. This inner disciple had an excited expression on his face. Su Han smiled and nodded. This inner disciple should also be the object of investment and help from Su Han, but he couldn't remember the name for a while. Because I have helped so many people, how can he remember everyone's name? After entering the Buddhist scriptures pavilion, it was empty. It was almost dark, all the disciples had left, and the whole scripture pavilion was filled with inexplicable desertedness. Su Han walked towards the counter, then stopped. Then he turned around and saw Tianming standing not far away, looking at him. The two stared at each other for several seconds without speaking. Finally, I'm willing to come back. Tianyu's words, I don't know if it is Su Han's illusion, but I always feel a sense of resentment. I can't see through your cultivation anymore. Tianyue looked Su Han up and down. Her tone was a little surprised and pleasantly surprised, but after thinking about it carefully, it seemed that Su Han's cultivation talent should be like this. With Su Han's current strength, as long as Su Han hides his aura, Tianming will no longer be able to see through his cultivation. At this time, Su Han released his breath. In front of Tianyue, Su Mei didn't need to hide. After feeling Su Han's coercion, Tianyue was obviously stunned for a moment. Her beautiful eyes were full of shock. Shattering the void is complete, half a step is broken, and the distance from the broken state is only one step away. This is the 5th year he has known Su Han. 5 years ago, he was just a monk at the spiritual sea realm. 5 years later, his cultivation is almost catching up with him. In 5 years, he has completed her journey of 500 years. Nor is she bragging. She used to be in the clan, in their field, she was unparalleled in talent, a blatant genius, no third. But in front of Su Han, she looks very mediocre. But Tianyue was sincerely happy with the improvement of Su Han's cultivation base. You obviously broke out, why did you come back? Didn't you also become a city lord? It's not right to let a good city lord go. Come back and continue to be an unknown scripture pavilion chief? Tianyue said. What kind of city lord? It's just a last resort, in fact, I don't want to be it. Su Han spread his hands. Isn't there still you here? As long as you are here, I will come back. You are important to me. Su Han said with a smile. Actually, this is the truth. Tianyue helped Su Han a lot on his way to practice. And after getting along for so long, he has long regarded Tianyue as his closest relative. Hearing these words, Tianyu was startled suddenly, as if a tingling electric current passed through his whole body. She calmed down her suddenly beating heart, then gave him a blank look, walked to the counter, and while arranging the pen, ink and inkstone, she said, It's good to be back alive. At this time, Su Han looked at Tianyue, and said seriously, I found the soul crystal jade, and according to your appearance, I created a new body for you. You can leave here. As soon as these words fell, Tianyu's hand froze, and her heart fluctuated unconsciously. Leave. Does she want to? Yes, she has always wanted to escape since she was trapped. Hundreds of years have almost obliterated her state of mind. However, when she heard that she was able to get out of trouble, she immediately felt a little disbelieving, a little dazed. This is like, you are used to the darkness, and suddenly someone brings you light, you will feel a sense of trance. She raised her head slowly, a ray of light passed through the gap and scattered on Tianyu's face, a little light was beating in her eyes. The two looked at each other for several seconds. Tianyue is very beautiful, at least she is the most stunning person Su Han has ever seen. Seeing the look of hope in her eyes at this moment, her heart twitched uncontrollably. In the next second, Su Han looked away and waved his hand. A perfect body appeared in front of Tianyue. This body is mainly made of soul crystal jade, but also made of many other rare natural materials and earth treasures, which cost Su Han a lot of painstaking efforts. In terms of value alone, the value of this body is immeasurable. Tianyue approached this body that was carved out of the same mold as her own, slowly stretched out her right hand, and gently touched. She can feel that this physical body is perfect, and can even feel that when she comes into contact with this physical body, the power of the soul detention tower to confine her is greatly weakened. If you use this physical body yourself, maybe you can really get out of trouble. At this time, with a wave of Su Han's hand, the door of the Sutra Pavilion closed. The space around the entire Sutra Pavilion began to collapse, forming a boundary within a boundary, and Su Han was going to protect Tianyue. I will protect you. Su Han's breath burst out, his hair fluttered, and he looked at Tianyue and said. Tianyu's expression also became serious, and she also knew that this might be her only chance to get out of trouble. Next second, her soul is ready to enter this new body. At the beginning, the situation was very smooth, but the final step was carried out. An accident happened. The entire Sutra Pavilion began to vibrate violently. This is a fragment of the soul detaining tower. After discovering Tianyu's actions, he is going to suppress it. At this time, Su Han opened his breath to fight against the power of the soul governing tower, when the two forces collided together. Su Han's pupils shrank suddenly. What level of magic weapon is this soul-arresting tower? Just a piece of it made Su Han feel a sense of oppression. It is indeed the magic weapon that has trapped Tianyue for so long, and the country is the same. In this way, Su Han and the Huhun Tower confronted each other to buy time for Tianyue to fuse. In this way, it continued until midnight. On protracted war, when will the cold end? His Dantian world provides Su Han with a steady stream of spiritual power, and Su Han doesn't feel any pressure at all. Time passed by every minute and every second. One short night, now it's getting very slow. He also felt Tianyu's state. It seemed that he was not very well. Next second, he allocated another wave of spiritual power to help Tianyue fuse with his new body. After getting help from Su Han, Tianyu's condition gradually recovered, and her aura became stronger and stronger. Boom, then came a dull voice. The breath of the soul-detaining tower disappeared instantly. Su Han looked at the body in front of him, feeling a little uneasy. He didn't know if he succeeded or not. Next second, Tianyu's long eyelashes trembled slightly, and she slowly opened her eyes. At this moment, she seems it feels strange and wonderful to have a new life. The two looked at each other for a while. Su Han lifted the boundary restriction around the Sutra Pavilion. He walked towards the door of the Sutra Pavilion step by step, and walked out. When I looked up, it was snowing. Snowflakes fell in the night sky. At this time, he turned his head and found that Tianyue had also walked to the door of the scripture storage pavilion. For the first time, she showed a hesitant and nervous expression. Su Han smiled and said to her, "Trust me, come out." Heard this sentence. Tianyue slowly raised her right leg and walked towards the door. The moment her feet hit the ground, her beautiful eyes froze. This feeling is not a dream, it's very real. She really came out, she really got out of trouble. Suddenly, she looked at Su Han in front of her, and unconsciously, her eyes blurred with garden spirit. At this moment, all the emotions in her heart were released. She wants to cry. Next second, she suddenly threw herself into Su Han's arms, and she no longer had the haughty attitude of the past, sobbing loudly. Night, very quiet. Only Su Han could hear bursts of sobs and cries. He slowly stretched out his right hand, touched her head, and comforted her. Maybe he couldn't empathize, but he can understand what kind of despair it is to be trapped here, in the dark, day after day, year after year. At this time, the voice of the system rang in Su Han's mind. Investment success. At this time, Su Han remembered that Tianming is a natural talent, and helping her out of trouble is equivalent to successfully investing in her. After such a long time, Su Han's mentality has changed, and she has long since sincerely helped her get out of trouble, and she almost forgot about investing. However, compared to rewards, Su Han was more happy that Tianming finally walked out of the soul tower that had imprisoned her for hundreds of years. Although Su Han is a ruthless investment machine, sometimes he sincerely wants to help some people, and Tianming is one of them. Get special feedback rewards. Would you like to receive it now? Hearing this, Su Han murmured in his heart, wait a minute. The night is like ink, and you can hear the sound of cicadas singing in the mountain stream. Just like that, Su Han let Tianyue hug her and cry like this. Maybe it was because she was tired from crying, or maybe it was because all the emotions in her heart were released, and her mood was calmed down. Then I suddenly realized that I had lost my composure. Then left Su Han's arms, a blush flashed across her face, and she wiped the tears from her face. Looking at Su Han, he smiled and said very seriously, Su Han, thank you. Thousands of words, all turned into this sentence. From the first time she met Su Han, she just felt that this young man was a bit strange, but after getting in touch with him slowly, she discovered his potential and shining points. But in fact, deep down in her heart, she still didn't quite believe that Su Han could help her out of trouble. Because she knows too much about the power of the soul governing tower, which has trapped her for hundreds of years, she has almost given up. So, when she really came out, she would feel very dazed and unreal, so she just lost control of her emotions for a moment. Suddenly, above the Sutra Pavilion, a dark vortex appeared, like an abyss, exuding a terrifying pressure. At this moment, Su Han looked up at the vortex in the void, frowning. That terrifying coercion is very powerful, and it is the strongest Su Han has encountered so far, bar none. Under that coercion, Su Han even felt an aura of destruction. At this moment, Tian Yu withdrew his gaze and sighed faintly. It should have come, it has come. She looked at Su Han with a serious look on her face. Su Han, I wanted to stay by your side and protect you from growing up. However, the people in the clan have already discovered my aura. If I stay by your side, I will only bring you disaster. Tianyue looked at Su Han, with a strong sense of sadness and reluctance in his eyes. The joy of just getting out of trouble was instantly diluted by sadness. Are you leaving? Su Han also knows that Tianyue is not from the Daqin Empire, and his identity and background should be very strong. Although he didn't know Tianming's specific identity and background, he could roughly guess a little bit. Perhaps the entire Daqin Empire may be nothing more than an ant in the eyes of her clan. It was inevitable for her to leave Dagon, but Su Han never thought that this day would come so soon. The abyssal vortex in the void became more and more obvious, and the coercion it emitted became more and more terrifying. Tianyu's eyes kept falling on Su Han's body, as if he wanted to engrave this man's appearance in his heart, and never forget. After hesitating for a long time, she made a decision in her heart. Su Han. My family is called Sky Clan. With your talent, maybe one day, we will meet again. However, please don't have anything to do with the Sky Clan. When it comes to the Tien Clan, Tianyu's words have a strong sense of powerlessness. Because her family is too big and too powerful. Even she, in the clan, is still a pawn and has not escaped yet. Perhaps one day in the future, she will be able to stand at the top level of the power pyramid of the Celestial Clan, and she will tell Su Han everything. But now, Su Han is still too weak. If he has any relationship with the Celestial Clan, it will be an unstoppable death calamity for him. The karma on her body predestined that she would not be able to be Su Han's guardian, nor would she be able to stay by his side to protect him. Leaving is the most correct choice. Next second, Tianyue took off the necklace around her neck and gave it to Su Han. This necklace will protect your life when you encounter a fatal calamity. I once gave you a tip too, but that kit, with your current strength, may not be useful. However, you must carry this necklace with you. No matter what state you reach in the future or what powerful enemies you encounter, it can protect your life. The last thing, this Sutra Pavilion is a fragment of the soul governing pagoda. If you leave the Sutra Pavilion one day, you can find a way to take it away. If you can control it, it will be a great opportunity that you can't imagine. Su Han, this world is far bigger than you imagined. From now on, don't try your best in everything. Tianyue said a lot of things at once, and she was afraid that she would never see Su Han again. Celestial Clan. Su Han murmured these two words in his heart. This was the first time Su Han heard Tianyue talk about his family. Su Han. I will always remember you. Tianming looked at Su Han and said in a pause. The usual cold tone has softened a lot now, as if it is no longer a warning from the senior to the junior, but another kind of affection. As she spoke, she slowly rose into the sky, her blue hair fluttering with the wind, like a goddess in the night sky, far away. She disappeared into the abyssal vortex in the sky. Only the last sentence remained. Su Han. Never touch the celestial clan, never. After Tianyue disappeared, the vortex abyss in the void disappeared completely, and the night sky returned to calm. But in his mind, the last words Tianyue said kept echoing. Never touch Sky Clan, never. He withdrew his gaze and looked at the empty Buddhist scriptures pavilion. I don't know why, but my heart suddenly feels empty. He returned to the sutra library, and when he came to the counter, he looked at the wicker chair and lay down on it. That night, Su Han didn't think about anything. He's getting ready for a good night's sleep. This time, I slept soundly and deeply. I slept through the night of the third day. At present, there are very few disciples who come to the Sutra Pavilion. The Sutra Pavilion used to have many disciples every day. But in the past year, the battle between Dagon and Dayu has been defeated, and the border is on the verge of being broken. How can the disciples of the Zongmen have the leisure to come to the Tibetan Scripture Pavilion? Basically, they all go to fight to experience and improve their strength. So these 3 days, there is no love. When Su Han woke up, looking at the empty Sutra Pavilion, he felt a little emotional. It seems that the Dagon Empire won't last much longer. However, this does not affect Su Han. He only has one thought in his heart, which is to become stronger. System. Get the reward. Tianyue is the talent of Fashong, so the reward for feedback is also the talent of Fashong level. Su Han is looking forward to what reward he will get. He has not been rewarded with investment law feedback for a long time. Next second. After seeing the reward for feedback, Su Dian was also stunned. Rewards are as follows. 1. 100 years of cultivation-based comprehension, 10 years of epiphany comprehension. 2. 5,000 years of longevity increase. 3. Tian Shui Constitution, perfect. 4. Heaven's Punishment Supreme Bone. 5. Heavenly Deed Technique, Great Saint Rank Top Grade. After watching the reward, Su Han was also stunned for a long time. Let alone the basic cultivation-based perception, there is an extra epiphany. This epiphany, and it is a 10-year epiphany. 5,000 years of longevity. After investing for so long, Su Han has lost count of the lifespan Su Han has accrued. It is estimated to be tens of thousands of years old. Su Han judged that after receiving this reward, he must have broken through to Broken Realm. In order not to make too much noise, with a wave of his hand, Su Han directly separated the entire space where the Sutra Library was located, forming a boundary within a boundary. In this way, people outside the realm cannot see the vision of heaven and earth. Get the reward. Follow Su Han's words. 100 years of cultivation, 10 years of enlightenment rewards, and instantly headed towards Su Han's empowerment. His aura is constantly rising at a terrifying speed. After skyrocketing for several breaths, it touched the bottleneck of Broken Realm. At this time, Su Han felt a strong obstacle force. The gap in difficulty between the two realms of Shattering Void Realm and Shattering Realm may be greater than the sum of the difficulties of all previous realms. Breaking the body, breaking the heart, breaking the soul, breaking the way, breaking everything, breaking the back and standing, this is a watershed. In order to touch the threshold of this realm, in the long history, I don't know how many amazing, talented and brilliant people have lost their halberds. Broken Realm, the supreme realm in Legendary, a meaning that one dare not even dream about. And Su Han is hitting this supreme realm. Cultivation and epiphany constantly hit the bottleneck, because Su Han's foundation is very strong, and the karma on his body is also very large, making it 1,000 times more difficult for Su Han to break through the broken realm than others. Because of this realm, one must first smash the physical body, state of mind, soul, Tao heart, etc., and then stand up after breaking. For a person like Su Han, who is very strong both physically and mentally and spiritually, it is really too difficult to break it. If he practiced normally, it would take Su Han 100 years to break through this bottleneck. But fortunately, the system's feedback rewards have greatly shortened this time cost. Su Han's skin all over his body began to congest and turn red, and the aura in his body became disordered. In the void above the Sutra Pavilion, there have been many phantoms of Dharma at this moment. There are phantoms of dragons and phantoms of Tinluan, which are very sacred, and phantoms of immortal swords, phantoms of ancient times, etc., are constantly flashing. Fortunately, Su Han made preparations in advance, and people outside could not see it. Otherwise, I don't know how big a sensation will be caused. Around Su Han, there is a circle of red mist. This is the mist filled with blood. The powerful breath caused the surrounding space to continuously collapse, recover, collapse again, and recover again. Behind Su Han, a phantom appeared faintly, looking carefully. This phantom is very similar to a towering willow tree, extremely sacred. But it was just a flash and then disappeared. The enhancement of breath has reached a critical value. The power of the law of space mastered by Su Han, etc., also began to burst out uncontrollably, and this independent small world has reached the brink of collapse. Boom! With a broken sound, Su Han suddenly opened his eyes. The blood on the whites of the eyes was converging towards the pupils, and the surrounding blood mist was also converging towards Su Han. The phantoms of the Dharma images above the Sutra Pavilion also gathered towards Su Han's dantian. The blood-like rosiness on Su Han's face was gradually fading away. Next second, he slowly opened his eyes, and in the deep pupils, a little bit of divine fire was beating. At this moment, Su Han felt reborn. The last time he felt this reborn was when he stepped from the Lingai realm to the Shanshan realm. Lingai stepped on the innate, and Paksu stepped on the broken. These are two watersheds. Su Han successfully stepped into the broken realm, not only stepped into the broken realm, but also reached the third level of the broken realm. Moreover, Yin Han can clearly feel that the constitution of his physical body has also changed. This should be Tinluan constitution. At this time, Su Han also noticed that there was an extra bone in his body. He looked inside and found that there was a dark bone in his chest, which was incompatible with the surrounding white jade amber bones. Is it the heaven's punishment supreme bone rewarded by the system? Su Han probed carefully, but didn't find anything magical about this bone, but it wasn't enough for him to feel the majestic and powerful energy inside this bone. This energy, Su Han, is hard to describe. The best adjective is high level. This energy is very high. It seems that we have to study slowly in the future. All in all, this Tinluan constitution and the supreme bone of heaven's punishment must be very against the sky, and it is very likely to be related to that celestial clan. After investing for so long, Su Han also understands certain rules. If the investment object has a higher level of luck and a stronger identity background, then the rewards will also have a little connection with the background family of the investment object. In the end, in Su Han's mind, words exuding fairy light appeared one after another. Although there are only a few hundred words, each word contains truth. Su Han just glanced at it roughly, and was shocked. This should be the Heaven's Deed technique. According to the grade of the system, this heavenly deed technique has reached the top grade of the holy rank. As Su Han's realm improved, he also gradually understood higher level exercises and magic weapons. The grades of martial arts and martial arts, from low to high: yellow rank, Zon rank, earth rank, heaven rank, king rank, emperor rank, lesser saint rank, great saint rank, emperor rank. The grades of weapon spirit treasures, from low to high: yellow grade, mysterious grade, earth grade, heaven grade, acquired spirit weapon, congenital spirit treasure, king grade, minor saint grade, great saint grade, commodity. Ordinary monks in the Taishu realm and shattering void realm are powerful, and the skills they practice are just the king rank. Only those with a better background and deep foundation can touch the emperor rank. Even if it is the supreme power of the broken realm, it is only the imperial rank field rank that has been practiced. However, the few people who stand at the top of the Dagon Empire may come into contact with the lesser saint rank, but not necessarily. The imperial step and the holy step are a watershed. There may be one or two small holy steps, but the great sage rank skills, the entire Daqin Empire definitely doesn't have it. And the heavenly deed technique rewarded by the system is not only of the great sage rank, but also of the top rank. The top rank of the great sage rank, this rank can already be said to be the highest skill in the Dagon Empire. Leave the heaven in the earth, seize the good fortune. Su Han silently recited the first sentence of the heavenly deed technique, and was greatly shocked. What a domineering technique. Unknowingly, Su Han studied this heavenly deed, and gradually became fascinated. This research must take 5 days. He didn't leave the gate, and he didn't step out of the second gate, so he studied this Tianchi technique in the Tibetan scripture pavilion. Almost no one came to the Buddhist scriptures pavilion. During this time, no one was seen. There was only one Buddhist scriptures pavilion on Luewi Peak, and there was only Su Han in the Buddhist scriptures pavilion. It was very deserted. However, this is also good. Su Han also devoted himself to studying the exercises. Over the years, he has accumulated too many resources such as exercises, magic weapons, etc., and he didn't have time to study them carefully, so he also plans to devote himself to research and practice for a period of time. Whether it is Tai Wang Ju, 9 ancient territories, mysterious turtle treasure technique, heavenly deed technique, and other top skills, Su Han didn't study much. Because Su Han is basically investing and investing continuously, as a result, he has accumulated a lot of resources and has no time to accumulate and practice. This is also the reason why Su Han came back to the illusory cloud sect. One is to help Tianyue get out of trouble, and the other is to practice the exercises well and make the best use of the resources he has obtained. Of course, Su Han is not giving up investment, but investing while practicing skills and using resources, so as to maximize his training. Because, with Su Han's current state, if he wants to make a big improvement, he must have a relatively high level of luck. The investment feedback brought about by white luck and yellow luck has little effect on Su Han. On this day, I came to the Sutra Pavilion. Here is Su Han's courtyard, his elixir garden, also here. Returning from Fulong City this time, he also brought the ancient South Earth and the water of the black market. After walking into the elixir garden, he found that the purple life ancient fairy peach tree was still growing in place. It seemed that during his absence, Wei Wei had also protected Su Han's pharmacy garden. He used the eyes of the sky, and the current state of Ziming Gushentao appeared in Su Han's mind in the form of words. Name: Purple Tea Ancient Fairy Peach, age: 971 years. Qualification: Luck. Gold. Biographical introduction. This peach tree can be traced back to the ancient times. Because the purple tea peach fruit produced can wash the tendons and veins, improve the root bones, after eating, it will even increase the understanding of nature, also known as Little Enlightenment Tao fruit, because of its remarkable and miraculous effect, is loved and sought after by all the immortals. Life status: poor, recent encounter. The soil quality is not suitable, and good ancient southern soil is needed. After reading it, because of the unsuitable soil, its life state is much worse than a year ago. What did Su Han think of when he was about to use the ancient? Otherwise, plant them in your own Dantian world? With a thought in Su Han's mind, the peach tree in front of him rose from the ground and entered Su Han's Dantian world. After all, he found a piece of land close to the bounding willow tree, and then he auctioned off Ji Yunan. At this time, the purple tea ancient fairy peach exudes a faint fairy light, and the breath of life is recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. I don't know if it's because of the ancient southern soil, or because of the bounding willow tree. The Ziming ancient immortal peach had some withered and yellowed leaves, but within a few breaths, it returned to its emerald green color. With a thought, the words appeared in Su Han's mind. Name: Purple Tea Ancient Fairy Peach, age: 971 years. Qualification: Luck. Gold. Biographical introduction. This peach tree can be traced back to the ancient times. Because the purple tea peach fruit produced can wash the tendons and veins, improve the root bones, after eating, it will even increase the understanding of nature, also known as Little Enlightenment Tao fruit, because of its remarkable and miraculous effect, is loved and sought after by all the immortals. Life status: excellent, recent encounter. None for now. The state of life has changed from poor to good, and the recent encounters have also. There is none left. This also means that Su Han's investment was successful. Next second, the voice broadcast by the system rang in Su Han's mind. Congratulations to the host, the investment is successful. Get feedback rewards. Rewards are as follows. 1. 10 ripe Ziming peach fruits, Xiaowudao fruit. 2. 100 Ziming ancient fairy peach saplings. In this way, Su Han directly got the ripe Xiaowudao fruit and 100 seedlings. Su Han picked up a small enlightenment fruit, looked at it carefully, and found that this little enlightenment fruit was very similar to a flat peach in appearance, and he could feel a strange energy contained in it. This is the little enlightenment fruit in legendary. Su Han is just an investment, which directly feeds back the mature Xiaowu Daoyuan. There is no need to wait for this ancient purple tea fairy peach tree to bear the fruit of enlightenment, which greatly saves time and cost, and it is done in one step. Next second. After he ate this little enlightenment fruit, then start sitting cross-legged on the spot. Soon, Su Han's thoughts seemed to have escaped from his body, and began to wander for 9 days, traveling through time and space. He seems to have become a bird's eye view, seeing many, many magnificent historical pictures. During this process, Su Han could clearly feel that his bones, flesh, tendons, etc. had been purified, and that kind of transparent feeling was indescribably refreshing. Among them, the most important thing is that in the process of epiphany and dissociation, Su Han has a lot of special insights in his heart, and his mood has also been improved. During the epiphany process, Su Han felt like a long time had passed. But in reality, only a few breaths of time have passed. He slowly opened his eyes, a little bit of fairy light continued to evolve and then annihilate in his pupils. Su Han looked around and found that he was floating a lot of black substance, which was the impurity that was removed from his body. The biggest benefit of this little enlightenment fruit for Su Han is actually not to cleanse the tendons and improve the root bones, because Su Han's constitution root bones don't need to be improved much. The biggest advantage is that there are more perceptions in my heart, some perceptions of the magnificent world in nature, and the long history, so that Su Han grasped certain rules and regulations of the world. Yaruto. Mysterious, and the remaining 9 small enlightenment fruits were put away by Su Han and will be used slowly in the future. Then, Su Han didn't intend to waste these 100 seedlings. With the attitude of giving it a try, he planted it in his own Dantian world. After planting, a miraculous scene happened. These 100 seedlings grew to a height of half a meter in just a few breaths. It seems that there will be a large number of fairy peach forests in my Dantian world in the future. Su Han withdrew from his own Dantian world. He came to a pond. His eyes fell on the lotus in the middle, which is the lotus of Moxu. I don't know what kind of surprise it will bring to Su Han. With a thought in Su Han's mind, the text information about this Moxu Ling appeared in his mind. Name: Ink Market Ling Year, 501 Qualification, Gold. Introduction. The young lotus grows at the bottom of the lake. It can be traced back to the chaotic era of ancient times. It gathers the aura of heaven and earth, and the treasures of heaven and earth are born. It takes 500 years to grow from a young lotus to a lotus seed. It takes at least 1,500 years. The lotus seeds taken out are named Moxu lotus, which has the effect of detoxifying all poisons in the world. After taking it, it can strengthen the power of the soul, so that the soul has the power of water ruins, which can defend against the power of burning fire. Life status: very poor, recent encounter. Need clean and impurity-free water from Moxu, which exists in extremely cold and secluded places. After reading, Su Han sighed. As expected, he still lacked the water of Moxu, and his current state of life was already very weak. If it takes another 1 or 2 years, it is likely to be alive. With a big wave of his hand, he lifted up the lotus of the ink market. In the same way as the fairy peach tree, Su Han directly brought it into his Dantian world. Then, he searched for a pond close to the bounding willow tree, planted it, and then poured the water from the black ruins that he had obtained from the auction into it. 1 breath, 2 breaths, a full 10 breaths passed without any change in response. Su Han frowned and mocked. What's going on? Doesn't it work? The voice just fell. The leaves of the lotus in the ink ruins emitted a dense light, wrapping the white lotus in the middle together, and soon, the lotus began to become transparent with the naked eye. If you don't look carefully, you can only see the surrounding lotus leaves, but not the lotus in the middle. Su Han can also feel the breath of the lotus of the black market, which is growing rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. His eyes fell on the delimiting willow, which had grown to a height of 2 meters. It seems that as long as any flowers, plants and trees get close to it, they will undergo strange changes and grow very fast. After planting this bounding willow tree in his Dantian world began to change in a certain direction. Even Su Han himself was not sure what his Dantian world would eventually look like. After the successful investment, the system's announcement sounded in Su Han's mind. Congratulations to the host, the investment is successful. Get feedback rewards. Rewards are as follows. 1. 10 Heishu lotus seeds, mature. 2. 100 lotus seeds of Moxu. The mode and amount of rewards are the same as the feedback of investing in purple tea fairy peach trees, which are directly fed back to mature fruits and seeds. This system is really thoughtful, because what is called sustainable development. Su Han picked up a Moxu lotus seed, and was going to try this lotus seed that had obtained the gold qualification grade in the system evaluation, to see what kind of miraculous effect it would have. After entering it, it directly transformed into a stream of cool energy, instantly permeating Su Han's whole body. Next second, he could feel that every inch of flesh and blood on his body, even some small toxins in the cells that Su Han himself ignored, were being excreted bit by bit. It is worthy of being hailed as a fairy that can cure all poisons in the world. In the future, if Su Han is infected with any difficult toxins, he only needs to take this Moxu lotus seed, and he can be cured in an instant. But its role is not only that. Su Han could feel his spiritual sea, as if soaking in a cool pond. It was extremely transparent, and he could also feel a special ability in his soul. This should be the power of the water ruins. The soul is afraid of fire, and the human spirit is most afraid of fire. According to legend, if a person falls into hell after death, his soul will be burned by the fire of hell, and he will live forever and never be reincarnated. After Lingai has this power of water market, it can defend against fire-attributed objects like flames. Su Han's defense ability has been greatly improved again. Su Han put away the remaining 9 ink market lotuses. If this item is put up for auction, I don't know how much sensation it will cause, but Su Han doesn't plan to put it up for auction, and Su Han has no shortage of spirit stone resources, so he must keep it for himself. This grain is a divine thing that can improve the soul and relieve all poisons in the world. However, the 100 seeds of the lotus of the ink market that have been reported back must be planted. With a wave of his hand, he threw the seeds into the pond. After only a dozen or so worlds passed, the seeds germinated and formed lotus buds. At a glance, there is a piece of lotus in the ink market. Such a sacred thing is hard to find. In Su Han's place, it has been directly mass-produced. After the lotus of the ink market matures, continue to plant new seeds and continue to expand. From the fairy peach grove just now, to the lotus bushes now, Su Han has bred 2 production gardens unknowingly. Su Han's Dantian world is really too big, so he has to make use of it. In the future, when Su Han encounters any natural treasures worthy of investment and cultivation, such as fairy grass and spiritual trees, he can plant them in his Dantian space. Because of its own investment system, you can directly invest in feedback to get mature fruit products, coupled with the ripening effect of the delimited willow tree. It can also make the original plantings quickly bear fruit. In this way, Su Han's Dantian world may be turned into the world's most luxurious, richest and most resource-rich secret realm by him. Moreover, this secret stash is Su Han's exclusive private secret treasury world, which provides Su Han with endless resources. After doing all this, Su Han withdrew from his own Dantian world. He transplanted some valuable elixir from his elixir garden into his Dantian world. After all, your Dantian world is inside your body, and it is the safest place you can carry with you. This time, Su Han is alone in the Sutra Pavilion, and he is studying such exercises as Tian Qi Shu, Tai Huang Ju, 9 ancient domains, Zan Gui Bao Shu, and so on. It has to be said that it is worthy of being a great sage rank technique, this heavenly deed technique. It took Su Han a full month to touch the threshold in front of him. This night, he sat upright on the Qingxi in the purple bamboo forest. The bright moon hung high in the night sky, and the cold light pouring down illuminated the purple bamboo forest. Su Han runs the heavenly deed technique, and begins to try to comprehend the world, make a contract with the world. The core of this heavenly deed technique is to contract the world, in the creation of the world. There are 9 levels of this heavenly contract technique, and each level can contract a thing. A total of 9 things can be contracted. After the contract is successful, you can use the contracted thing to practice. Everything in the world can be contracted, depending on your ability to decide. However, according to Su Han's understanding during this time, generally the safest way is to contract a spirit beast. Then this spirit beast can be fed back to Su Han for training, and the speed of cultivation will be doubled. Moreover, it will not affect the practice of the contracted thing itself, which is a win-win situation. However, this heavenly contract technique has a drawback, that is, it cannot contract humans. If it is possible to contract human beings, Su Han must find a monk who is gifted in the law to make a contract, which is equivalent to 1 more person to help Su Han practice. After this period of time, Su Han devoted himself to research. Su Han has already practiced to the first level of heavenly deed technique. Therefore, he can choose the first contract object. As for the object of the first contract, in fact, he considered Bai Li, but after thinking about it, he decided to forget it. In case there is some accident such as a curse hidden in this contract technique, it will hurt Bai Li. After all, this is the first attempt, and Su Han doesn't know the specifics. However, the first contract item is also very important. Su Han thought for a long time what to choose. According to the introduction of heavenly deed technique, except that you can't contract humans, as long as you have the ability, you can contract anything. Any. Su Han raised his head slowly and looked at the bright moon in the night sky. In his pupils, a flicker of crazy light flashed. Is there a possibility to directly contract with the moon? However, he thought again, there is also a word of warning at the end of this Tian Chi Shu. That is to warn practitioners not to aim too high, to contract things beyond the scope of ability. Remember that the rules of the world cannot be contracted, such as the sun, moon, wind, water and other big things. Contracting these things will go beyond the scope of this exercise, leading to madness and even death. Su Han looked at the bright moon in the night sky. He wants to try. Next second, the voice of the system rang in Su Han's mind. Reminder. With the current strength of the host, the success rate is only 10%. The system's cold words directly woke up Su Han. Generally, the system will not take the initiative to speak. If it has said so, then Su Han's failure must be inevitable. However, he also grasped another layer of meaning in the system's words, and continued to ask. That is to say, it's just that I'm not strong enough. When I get stronger, can I make a contract? The words fell. There was a few breaths of silence. Only then did the system reply. Theoretically, yes. Hearing this, Su Han was not in a hurry. Anyway, this heavenly contract technique has a total of 9 levels, and you can contract 9 things. Later, when you are stronger, you can try to contract the moon. There is no rush for the matter of contracting the moon. However, this first contract item became a problem. Su Han looked around and found that there was nothing worth contracting. He couldn't contract a stone or a grass. In fact, the best way is to go to the mountains and contract a high-level spirit beast. This is the safest way. However, the nearby mountains are the Tianlin Mountains. Su Han had inquired a long time ago that the beasts in the Tianlin Mountains were only at the 6th level. A 6th-order ferocious beast is almost equivalent to the purple mansion of human beings. It's not that Su Han looked down on 6th-order beasts, but that with Su Han's strength in the Broken Realm, it was a waste of contract opportunities to contract a 6th-order beast. Moreover, the ferocious beasts in the mountains are basically wild. If one day they meet a strong man passing by and are killed casually, wouldn't it be a big loss for Su Han? Correct. At this time, Su Han thought of a very good idea. Since contracting wild ones is risky, why not just contract those that are kept at home? For example, if a sacred animal or the like contracted to a holy place is well maintained in the holy place, what kind of resources will never come? Before you know it, more than a year has passed. During this year, Su Han devoted most of his time to studying exercises and consolidating his foundation, which was regarded as a kind of precipitation. After a year of precipitation, Su Han's changes have also been very great, and his cultivation base has also stepped into the 4th level of Broken Realm. This day, a stooped, gray-haired elder appeared in the Buddhist scripture pavilion. He walked towards the counter step by step, and saw that Su Han had warmed up the tea and was sitting on the bench waiting. Seeing this old elder, Su Han stood up and said to the old elder, Elder Yun, please sit down. This elder Yun, named Yun Changli, is the supreme elder of the illusory cloud sect, but his cultivation is only at the spirit sea realm. When Wanyunzong was established, he was already in Wanyunzong, and he was regarded as the oldest veteran besides Yunfeng. However, Su Han knew that this elder Yun was not just a sect queen. He must have a blood relationship with Yunfeng, probably a relative like Yunfeng's uncle. Moreover, although this Yun Changli was only at the spirit sea realm, Su Han could tell that his dantian had been severely damaged, and it must have been a serious injury that caused his cultivation to fall to the spirit sea realm. The most bizarre thing is that Yun Changli's dantian has been damaged to such an extent that he is still at the spiritual sea level, which shows that his previous cultivation must have been very high. Yun Changli faced Su Han and sat down. Su Han poured him a cup of tea. Yun Changli picked it up, took a sip, and praised, good tea. Elder Su, I heard Fenger talk about you. After hearing Yun Changli's name for Yunfeng, Su Han's guess was almost the same. Elder Su is so young, with outstanding talent and high cultivation, he is willing to be a little elder of the scripture pavilion here. I heard from Fenger that you don't want to get involved. What Yun Changli said was actually saying that Yunfeng once invited Su Han, but Su Han refused. Yunfeng's original intention was to wander freely, and he did not intend to carry out the Yun family's plan, to be an idler. As for Yun Changli's thinking, it should be the opposite of Yunfeng's. He supports the Yun family's plan and plans to plan the layout step by step and return to the Yun family. My little arms and legs, it's pretty good to live here in peace and contentment. Su Han smiled. Elder Su is only over 100 years old, and you are starting to retire now? Then I have to buy a coffin, old man. Yun Changli also smiled, showing his few remaining teeth. I don't know why Elder Yun came to see me. Su Han asked straight to the point. After saying that, Yun Changli waved his hands and said, "Don't worry, since Fenger has come to persuade you, I won't persuade you if you don't mean it." Because of the war between the Dagon Empire and the Dayu Empire, the Dagon Empire is in a state of defeat. In order to help the Daqin Empire, the Taiyi Holy Land gave a place to enter the Holy Land for advanced studies. Our illusory cloud sect has obtained a quota, and the invitation letter for the recommendation quota is in my hands. I am ready and recommend you to go. Yun Changli said to Su Han word by word. Heard the words. Su Han was stunned for a moment, not interested. With his strength, he still needs to go to Taiyi Holy Land for further training? Maybe he will think about inviting him to become the Holy Lord of Taiyi Holy Land. Su Han waved his hand and said, "Thank you, Elder Yun, for your kindness. You can give this spot to the disciples of Tianzhao in the sect. I am old, so I won't compete with young people for the spot." Yun Changli was a little surprised. He really didn't expect that Su Han would refuse. The training quota for the Taiyi Holy Land is enough to drive any monk in the Daqin Empire crazy. Elder Su, you are very young, and at your age, Tianjing. In the entire illusory cloud sect, who else is more suitable than you? Yun Chongkong couldn't see Su Han's specific cultivation, but he knew from Yunfeng that Su Han had stepped into the Shanshan realm. Elder Yun, I have exhausted my potential to step into the Shanshan realm. Su Han refused again, and went to the Holy Land of Taiyi to study. Who can teach Su Han? Moreover, Su Han doesn't need anyone to teach him. Elder Su, you may have misunderstood Taiyi Holy Land. After speaking, Yun Chongkong paused, and the expression on his face became serious. Taiyi Holy Land is not as simple as you seem on the surface. The Taiyi Holy Land of the Dagon Empire is just a layer of the Yinyi Holy Land. Behind it is the Taiyi Holy Kingdom. You have never been in the Dagon Empire, you may not know what the Holy Kingdom of Taiyi means in the entire Lingyuan continent. When Yun Changli talked about the Sacred Kingdom of Taiyi, there was a hint of fear in his tone. The Holy Kingdom of Taiyi not only has branches in the Dagon Empire, but also has branches in other empires in the Lingyuan continent, or in other large regions. So, even if one day, the Dayu Empire annesses the Dagon Empire, it will not affect the existence of Taiyi Holy Land. Dayu annexed Dagon, and also enshrined the Holy Land of Taiyi. The Holy Land of Taiyi will always be above it. So, the current war is turbulent. Entering the Taiyi Holy Land for further training is not only an excellent opportunity to practice, but also a chance to save your life. Even if the border is lost and Dayu cultivators enter the country wantonly, Taiyi Holy Land is absolutely safe. Yun Changli said to Su Han earnestly. In fact, this quota, looking at the entire illusory cloud sect, he only wanted to give it to Su Han, because of Su Han's great potential. Even if Yun Changli painted the cake to this extent, Su Han didn't feel the slightest bit moved. With Su Han's strength, does he need to seek protection? Where he is the safest place. Suddenly, Su Han thought of something, and asked Yun Changli, Elder Yun, is there any treasure protecting sacred beasts in this Taiyi Holy Land? The words fell. Yun Changli looked surprised. What happened to Su Han? What is going on in your mind? It seems that I have been talking with him for a long time, and I am not on the same channel at all. I don't know the details, but I once heard Fenger say that there is indeed a holy beast cub in Taiyi Holy Land. It is said that it was brought from the Taiyi Jin Kingdom. It seems that it is not young. It enjoys the treatment of a prince in the Taiyi Holy Land. I don't know exactly what kind of holy beast it is and what strength it is. After finishing speaking, Yun Changli looked at Su Han with a strange expression. But, why are you asking this? You don't want to go to the Taiyi Holy Land to steal the holy beast cubs, do you? I advise you, you must not have this kind of thinking. Not even a single thought. Otherwise, I dare not give you this quota. Yun Changli thought of something terrible, so he quickly vaccinated Su Han to prevent him from doing something outrageous. Heard this, and seemed to be interested. Recently, I am worrying about how to choose the first contract item. The baby holy beast cub of Taiyi Holy Land, with high race and high talent, enjoys the treatment of the prince. Moreover, it was fostered by the Taiyi Holy Kingdom in the Taiyi Holy Land, which is equivalent to the prince helping the emperor to raise the prince, and the salary is full. If you want to get it with your knees, Taiyi Holy Land will definitely help him practice with all his strength, and get whatever he wants. If Su Han can contract with that prince, he can not only make a wave of investment, but also contract a wave, killing two birds with one stone. Wouldn't it be great to be? Moreover, the background of Taiyi Holy Land is so great, and the transcendent forces above the entire Daqin Empire, there must be many disciples who are talented. Su Han can also take the opportunity to make a wave of investment. Moreover, I have also settled in the Sutra Pavilion for a year, and it is time to go out and try to invest. Taiyi Holy Land is considered a good investment location. Okay, let me try it, Su Han said to Yun Changli. Hearing this, Yun Changli was overjoyed, and said, "That's right, you are only so old, and you just want to lie flat and die." The new city owner of Fulong City last year, I heard that he was very young. You should learn from that new city lord and have the courage to venture out. Hearing this sentence, Su Han was also taken aback. It seems that his reputation outside is bigger than what he imagined. Even old man Yun, who has been nesting in the sect all year round and keeps his ears shut, knows about it. Su Han just smiled and didn't speak. By the way, you go to Taiyi Holy Land. I have to tell you something very, very important. You must remember. As he spoke, Yun Changli lowered his voice, his expression became extremely serious. There is a real holy sun in Taiyi Holy Land, you must not have any enemies with him. Yun Changli exhorted Su Han word by word. The real sun? Could it be that there is another false one? Su Han wanted to laugh at Yun Changli's words. Right. The holy sun on the bright side of Taiyi Holy Land is just a cover, although the holy sun on the bright side is also a peerless genius. But compared with the real sun, it's not even a star. The real sun comes from Taiyi Holy Kingdom. The news I got is that they came to the Taiyi Holy Land of the Dagon Empire for training. All in all, as long as you don't mess with that holy sun from the Holy Kingdom, even if you cause other troubles, my Yun family's face can save you. Heard the words. Su Han frowned, a little shocked in his heart. Regarding Yun Changli's words, what moved Su Han was his last sentence. This sentence means that as long as Su Han doesn't make a huge mess, the Yun family can protect Su Han. The Yun family that Yun Changli was talking about was definitely not the illusory cloud sect, but the giant family behind him. From these words, it can be seen that the Yun family's energy in Lingyuan continent is not small. Su Han, to be honest, I really appreciate you. In the future, if you want, I can take you to Kei Yun's house. In the last words, Yun Changli expressed his real intention, still wanting to win over Su Han. He has been dormant in the Daqin Empire for so many years, and has seen the rise of countless Tianzhao. However, only Su Han gave him a feeling of being out of the pool. Although he saw that Su Han's cultivation was only at the innate level, he could clearly feel the aura on Su Han's body, which was very strong, indescribably strong. Exhaling and inhaling has a feeling of being in line with nature. In the past, he was also admired by countless people. Although he is now a useless person, his vision is still vicious. He can feel that Su Han is a person who has great luck and is worth wooing. Thank you, Elder Yun, for your kindness, Su Han replied with a smile. As Su Han's strength becomes stronger and stronger, and the level he comes into contact with is getting higher and higher, he will feel that the world is getting smaller and smaller, and the world is getting bigger and bigger. He who used to be an elder of the outer sect felt that Huan Yunzong was already very big, and he felt that the Shanshan realm was already at the top. It's only been a few years, and I feel the insignificance of the Wanyan sect, and even the insignificance of the Daqin Empire. And the Shanshan realm that he once looked up to, in his eyes, is no different from ants. Broken realm, very strong, indeed very strong. In the Dagon Empire, he can overlook. However, in the entire continent, he is still very weak. Just like a year ago, when Tianyue left, the powerful breath from the vortex abyss in the void could crush Su Han. Therefore, don't be proud, don't slack off, the road to investment is still very long. Okay, I've finished telling what should be told. After 3 days, I will come to you and take you there. That brat Yunfeng, I don't know where he went to fool around again. Talking about Yunfeng, Yun Changli hated that iron could not be made into steel, and he was not angry at all. You must know that Yunfeng was once in the Yun family, and he was also a generation of arrogance, radiant, and the Yun family gave him unlimited hope, and he could even become the successor of the next patriarch. But later, after that incident, the whole person became abnormal, and then he became carefree, and he didn't care about his practice. This moment. Illusory Cloud Sect, inside a main hall of Tianfeng. Mu Gui said to Zhao Chonghe flatteringly, "My brother Zhao, you have seen the dog before. 60 on the Qianlong list, not bad. As senior brother wished, I also let him leave Hidden Sword Villa. Joined the Illusory Cloud Sect and became a disciple of our Illusory Cloud Sect. I promise, my dog will be a phantom cloud in the future. Look at the quota for advanced studies." Zhao Chonghe pulled his former junior into the Illusory Cloud Sect to become an elder, but in fact, his biggest purpose was to fall in love with Mu Gui's son. Qianlong is on the list, and the ranking is not low. Junior brother, it's not that senior brother doesn't help you, the quota for advanced studies is not my subject. Zhao Chonghe also said helplessly, "In the hands of Master Yan? Where is he? I'm going to beg him." Mu Gui's greatest pride is his son, who became a disciple of Hidden Sword Villa very early on. Although Hidden Sword Villa is also the top holy land of the Dagon Empire, it is still nothing compared to Taiyi Holy Land. Moreover, it is said that the old sword god in Hidden Sword Villa seems to be getting worse day by day. For this kind of force that relies on one person to prop up a sect, it is still not stable. Once that old sword god passes away, the status of Hidden Sword Villa will be greatly reduced. However, the Taiyi Holy Land is different, it has been above the Dagon Empire from the beginning to the end. No, it's in the hands of that Supreme Elder. Facing that Supreme Elder, Zhao Chonghe didn't dare to show any temper. The Supreme Elder? Mu Gui was a little puzzled, he had only come to Illusory Clouds not long ago. Then I'll go find the Supreme Elder you mentioned. For that quota, Mu Gui still did not give up. His son is the most qualified candidate in the entire Illusory Cloud Sect to enter the Taiyi Holy Land for further study. No, that quota can only be determined by his old man. Also, junior brother Mu, you must not have any wrong thoughts. That Supreme Elder's surname is Yun, and our Menba's surname is Yun. The head of the sect and the Supreme Elder are not existences that you and I can offend. After all, Zhao Chonghe has been the great elder in the Illusory Cloud Sect for so many years, and has dealt with Yunfeng and Yun Changli for so long. He more or less understands that the true identities of the head and the Supreme Elder are not simple. Okay. Seeing Zhao Changhe's serious expression, Mu Gui had no choice but to agree. Let's wait for the Supreme Elder to make a decision. Third day. Yun Changli arrived as scheduled, led Su Han, and left the Illusory Cloud Sect directly. After Mugi learned the news, he was completely dumbfounded. "Brother Zhao, brother." Mu Gui hurriedly found Zhao Chonghe, almost stumbling onto Zhao Changhe's body. "Okay, I get it." Zhao Chonghe wanted to break his head, but he couldn't figure out why the Great Elder gave Su Han the place of advanced training. Didn't Su Han's flat-out temperament completely ruin that spot? "Brother Zhao, you have to make the decision for me." Mu Gui is completely like a wronged little daughter-in-law, jumping up and down anxiously. He directly asked his son to leave Hidden Sword Villa and come to Huan Yunzong just for the place of advanced training. "This is all right, the quota has not yet been obtained, and it is impossible for my son to go back to Hidden Sword Villa again. This wave belongs to losing his wife and losing his army. Brother Mu, it's the brother who is sorry for you. But there's no other way. I, Zhao Chonghe, have the final say on the Illusory Cloud Sect. Hey, junior brother Mu, look away. The time for advanced studies is at most 3 years. Zhao Chonghe also knew how to comfort Mu Gui for a while. Good. I'm right here, third ocean time. Let's see how much Su Han can change in 3 years. After he comes back, I have to ask for advice in person. Mugi snorted coldly. He didn't dare to blame the Supreme Elder, he only dared to vent his anger on the Elder of the Scripture Storage Pavilion. How old are you, and you still compete with young people for places? Although Mu Gui has never met Su Han, but as an Elder of the Sutra Pavilion, he must be hundreds or thousands of years old. No, Su Han is very young, not much older than your son. Zhao Chonghe still couldn't help but say something. How about that? Has he been on the Qianlong list? Mugi asked. That's not true. If I remember correctly, Su Han should be at the Guyuan realm. I don't know what her cultivation level is. I haven't seen her for a long time. Zhao Chonghe spread his hands. Guyuan realm? The Supreme Elder actually gave up the quota to a Guyuanjing, or a person with little potential. Mugi almost took a big breath and didn't bring it up. No, I'm in the 3rd year of Illusory Cloud Sect. 3 years later, I asked my son to ask him for advice, to see how much progress he has made. Of course Mugi couldn't swallow this breath. Therefore, after 3 years of preparation, he had to find this anger back, otherwise he would not be able to let it go. It's only 3 years, a meditation retreat, it's gone in the blink of an eye. Su Han followed Yun Changli, and he found that although Yun Changli's internal organs were in dilapidated condition, his dantian was still severely damaged. However, his aura is very thick and pure, with a feeling of being in line with nature and returning to nature. From this point, it can be seen that Yun Changli must have been a peerless power. Elder Yun, aren't we going to Tai Holy Land? Su Han saw that Yun Changli took him to the sky, and it was soaring. Could it be that the Holy Land of Tai is in the sky? Yes. Go to Tai Holy Land. Yun Changli replied. Tai Holy Land, in the sky, well, because of it. To be precise, the Holy Land of Tai is suspended above the clouds. Yun Changli explained. Look, that's the Holy Land of Tai. Yun Changli stopped, stepped on the void, pointed to the front and said. Su Han looked in the direction of Yun Changli's finger, but saw nothing except the floating fairy clouds. I didn't see it. The voice just fell. Yun Changli smiled and said, this is the magic of Tai Holy Land. Have you ever heard such a saying? Only with a pious heart can one become a fairy. Su Han said, I've heard this saying before. Then you must have never heard of the other half of the sentence. As he spoke, Yun Changli paused for a moment, and said, if you have no other distractions, you will see Tai. Heard the words. Su Han froze for a moment. This is the second half of the sentence, he really heard it for the first time. After he got rid of the distracting thoughts in his heart, he focused on nothing else and looked forward again. At this time, only then did he see the Holy Land of Tai clearly. After seeing clearly, a look of surprise flashed in Su Han's eyes. This is. At a glance, the fairy clouds are lingering like the earth. On this land of fairy clouds, there are floating mountain peaks and fairy islands one after another. The fairy rhyme and aura have transformed into rainbow bridges interlacing among the mountain peaks and fairy islands. The sound of drums is sacred and breathtaking. This is the most magnificent holy place that Su Han has ever seen. Only such a holy place can truly be called the place of immortals. In comparison, Wanyunzong is like a yin village. There are thousands of mountain peaks and fairy islands, large and small. At a glance, they spread to the horizon, majestic and huge. This is Tai Holy Land. In the folk legendary of the Daqin Empire, only one can become a fairy, and Fangfeng is immortal. That fairyland does not refer to it in general, but refers specifically to the Holy Land of Tai. Now, you should know the status of the Tai Holy Land in the Dagon Empire. Yun Changli said with a smile. When he saw the Tai Holy Land, Su Han realized that there is only one Holy Land in the Dagon Empire, and that is the Tai Holy Land in front of him, and only it deserves the word, Holy Land. Next second. Yun Changli took out a piece of red jade pendant from his cuff, and looked carefully. It seemed that there was blood flowing in the jade pendant, exuding a strong energy of blood. This is the token. With this token, you can enter the Tai Holy Land. After Su Han took the token, he cupped his fists and said, thank you, Elder Yun. Go. Remember what I said, in the Holy Land of Tai, studying hard and humbly asking your seniors for advice will definitely bring you a great improvement. Remember what I said, practice in a low-key manner, but don't be afraid of what you should fight for, and practice with confidence and boldly. I will support you behind your back. Although I can't mobilize too much energy from the Yun family, it's no problem to keep you safe in Tai. But you must always remember that behind the Tai Holy Land is the Tai Holy Kingdom, and you must restrain yourself appropriately. The meaning of Yun Changli's words is to tell Su Han not to be too submissive. The Yun family will support him behind the scenes. In fact, he had his own plans in mind. He had waited too long in the Daqin Empire, and he had high hopes for Yunfeng, but for so many years, nothing had changed. Therefore, he took a fancy to Su Han and prepared to cultivate it well. Maybe it could give the Yun family a glimmer of hope for his pulse. Go. Yun Changli waved at Su Han. Well, Elder Yun, take care. After finishing speaking, Su Yin walked towards the Holy Land of Tai. With his hands behind his back, Yun Changli watched Su Han's back step by step, until he disappeared into the mist of fairy clouds. Yun Changli at this moment, of course, doesn't know how much impact he will have in the future by sending Su Han to Tai Holy Land. Su Han is like a wolf, quietly breaking into the fat sheep pen of Tai Holy Land, which is bigger, richer and more fertile than Fulong City. Soon, Su Han approached the holy place, When I got really close, I realized that the mountain peak is so majestic. Looking up, there is a feeling of looking up at a high mountain. It is hard to imagine that this is a height above 10,000 meters. He stepped on the cloud layer, which had a very solid sense of stepping on it, and walked towards the gate of Taiyi Holy Land step by step. After getting closer, I realized that the sky of Tianmen is outrageous. I don't know what kind of stone it is made of, but there are two big characters of Long Fei Feng Wu engraved on it, Taiyi. There are no guards at the gate, but it's normal. Who in the Dagon Empire would dare to forcefully break into the Holy Land of Taiyi? Su Han easily walked into the Taiyi Holy Land. After walking in, I realized that there is something wrong with it. Hongqiao is everywhere, and you can see huge cranes flying around among the floating islands in various mountains. From time to time, a few disciples could be seen, stepping on the fairy sword, flying among the mountain peaks. These disciples all have extraordinary temperament and powerful cultivation bases, and all of them are wearing white Taoist robes. At a glance, the ones with the lowest cultivation have all reached the Spirit Sea Realm? You know, in the outside world, the Spirit Sea Realm is a powerful party that exists sideways. In this Taiyi Holy Land, it is naturally just an ordinary disciple. From this point, we can see how terrifying the background of Taiyi Holy Land is. For Su Han, an outsider, those disciples seemed to just glance at him, and then looked away, as if they were used to it. Moreover, from their eyes, one can capture the sense of indifference of being superior. After all, they are disciples of Taiyi Holy Land, and their identities already stand above the empire. Even though Su Han's cultivation has reached the Shanshan realm, in Taiyi Holy Land, the Shanshan realm is too common and too common. Subconsciously, he regarded Su Han as the son of a certain big family, who came to visit the Holy Land of Taiyi to gain insight. After all, there were many such cases. The princes of the royal family of the Daqin Empire can only come to visit. Because the Taiyi Holy Land hardly accepts disciples from outsiders, even if you are the crown prince and you are not favored by the Taiyi Holy Land, you cannot become a disciple of the Taiyi Holy Land. Su Han opened his eyes and took a look. There are hardly any disciples with lower luck than blue. All light blue, blue, deep blue, and light gold. This average quality is really too high. Even in Fulong City, it is difficult to meet blue's lucky monks, but once in this Taiyi Holy Land, blue is as numerous as dogs. As expected of the Holy Land of Taiyi, it only accepts the top disciples. It seems that Su Han can flex his muscles in the Taiyi Holy Land and make a good investment. Soon, Su Han found a disciple with a faint gold luck, when Yin Han was about to go up to talk to him. A deacon in black stood in front of Su Han. The black-clothed deacon was tall, standing in front of Su Han like an iron wall. The cultivation base is not weak, and has reached the Purple Mansion realm. It's really outrageous for a deacon to reach the Purple Mansion. In Fulong City, the Purple Mansion realm can be the second in command or the third in command, but in Taiyi Holy Land, he can only be a deacon. If you come to visit, don't get close to the front. The voice of the deacon in black was cold. Next second, Su Han waved his hand, and a jade pendant appeared in his heart. After seeing this jade pendant, the black-clothed deacon instantly understood and said, "Come with me." The words fell. The deacon in black walked towards a certain mountain, and Yin Han followed behind. Su Han has just entered Taiyi Holy Land, so he has to develop in a low-key way, and then invest in a low-key way. That's all. Under the leadership of the deacon in black, Su Han came to a floating mountain peak. Then, through a jungle, and then through a bamboo forest, came to an open space. The deacon in black pointed to a wooden attic in front of him and said, "There is your living place. Remember, you are only a trainee of the Holy Land, not a formal disciple of the Taiyi Holy Land, so don't run around. In a few days, someone will come to you." With that said, the deacon in black turned and left. Su Han stood on the cliff in front of the attic, his consciousness gradually dispersed, covering the Mountain King. Next second, Su Han knows everything about this mountain. Including Su Han, there are a total of 10 monks. Like Su Han, all of them came to Taiyi Holy Land for advanced training. Among them, there is a woman who has actually reached the first level of the Zifu. She is considered to be the person with the highest cultivation except for Su Han, and the rest are basically at the Lingai level. The other two are innate realm, but they are already senile, estimated to be several thousand years old. They are both at this age, and they still come to Taiyi Holy Land to study, which shows how attractive Taiyi Holy Land is. According to this trend, Zhao Changhe, the great elder of the illusory cloud sect, came to this Taiyi Holy Land, and he was also a submissive disciple. This is the gap between the top Holy Land and the common big sect. Recently, Su Han didn't go out of the mountain, but was practicing and studying his own skills. After all, Su Han hasn't figured out the Taiyi Holy Land yet, and he doesn't know the extent of the combat power ceiling of the Taiyi Holy Land. Although he is in the Broken Realm, the Taiyi Holy Land is backed by the Taiyi Holy Kingdom after all, and Su Han still doesn't understand the depth of its foundation, so he can't move around in order not to expose his strength. After all, a supreme power in the Shattered Realm came to the Taiyi Holy Land as a disciple, and if he knew it on his knees, he must be plotting something wrong. This is equivalent to a full-level boss breaking into Novice Village. Third day. The same deacon in black came to the attic where Su Han lived. Led Su Han went to another mountain. This mountain peak is very majestic, dozens of times larger than ordinary mountain peaks. According to the deacon's introduction, this mountain is the Fa Chuangfeng Peak of Taiyi Holy Land. As the name suggests, this mountain peak is the place where the elders and immortal masters of the Taiyi Holy Land preach to the disciples in the sect. Moreover, along the way, the deacon in black also gave Su Han some precautions. Among them, the most important point is that the teacher must be respected and not offended. He also learned a piece of news from this black-clothed deacon, that is, there is no saying that elders accept disciples in Taiyi Holy Land. To be more precise, the masters of the disciples in the Taiyi Holy Land can be all the elders. Because, every once in a while, Taoist Peak will open some preaching classes, that is, some elders in the Holy Land will give lectures and guide cultivation. This method can be said to be very advanced. In this way, every disciple in the Taiyi Holy Land can get the teachings of every elder in the Holy Land, gather the strengths of hundreds of schools, and extract the essence. The efficiency of practice can be said to be improved by leaps and bounds. Moreover, in Taiyi Holy Land, there is no distinction between outer disciples and inner disciples. As long as you are a disciple of Taiyi Holy Land, you can participate in any elder's preaching plan. Compared with the inner disciples, core disciples, and closed disciples of other sect Holy Lands, there are all kinds of intrigues and intrigues. The Taiyi Holy Land treats everyone equally, which is really comfortable. No wonder all the monks in the Daqin Empire regard the Taiyi Holy Land as the place they dream of cultivating immortals. After the black-clothed deacon sent Su Han to the Taoist Peak, the mission was completed. I'll show you the way too, and you can come by yourself later. But you have to pay attention to one thing, because you are not considered a disciple of Taiyi Holy Land. You only have one chance to enter the Taoist Peak once a month. After finishing speaking, the deacon in black thought of something and continued. You're lucky. Today is Elder Marang preaching. She hasn't given lectures for many years. Many disciples have gone today. If you don't go, there will be no place for you. This senior, what's your name? Seeing that the burly and tall deacon in black was not bad, Su Han asked a question. Yang Kai. The deacon in black also admired this young trainee. Disciple, at such a young age, you are in the innate state, and the future can be expected. Su Han. Thank you Elder Yang for reminding me. Su Han said with a smile. Then he took a look at the luck of the black-clothed deacon with his eyes, and Su Han was startled. Gold luck. Wipe. This deacon, who is more than 2,000 years old, can actually get the luck evaluation of gold. It seems that this deacon must have great opportunities in the future. After all, gold's luck should not be more than 2,000 years old. The gold content of gold luck is very high. Then, there is only one possibility. This deacon named Yang Kai belongs to the late blooming type. This is, Su Han remembered the famous official, Yang Kai. After getting a little more familiar, look for opportunities to invest. After all, the two of them have only met twice now, and it is inexplicable and abnormal to invest as soon as they come up. Go ahead. Although you are not yet a formal disciple of the Holy Land, as long as you perform well, you will soon become a regular disciple. Your talent, turning into a sure thing. Hearing this sentence, Su Han froze and wanted to laugh. God TM's regularization. After Su Han entered the Chuan Dao Peak, he found that there were more disciples, and they all walked in one direction. It seems that Elder Marang has a very high reputation. Su Han also followed the crowd and walked forward. Soon, he entered a large hall. This hall is extremely luxurious, much like a large square. At this moment the entire hall is already full. As Yang Kai said, if you come later, you won't have a seat. At this time, Su Han found that there was another place in a corner at the back, so he sat up. After Su Han sat down, The disciples who followed up late, seeing that the last seat was taken by Su Han, just sighed in annoyance and left. From this point, it can be seen that the disciples of the Holy Land have excellent garden quality. If it were placed in other sects, Su Han might be arrogantly forced to give up his seat, and then there would be a bloody conflict. When, with a bell ringing, the entire hall was completely quiet, and everyone's eyes were directed to the front. Next second, a beautiful figure appeared from the front podium. When Su Han saw the beautiful figure clearly, his pupils trembled suddenly. This woman is very familiar to him. However, Su Han couldn't remember where this familiar feeling came from, or where he had seen it before. It's not that the appearance is familiar, but the breath is very familiar. Suddenly, Su Han's thoughts began to recall, and soon, anyone he met in these years was screened in his mind. No eligible candidates were found. Immediately, Su Han frowned. He looked at the woman and looked up and down, trying to find some clues. However, apart from being beautiful and powerful, this woman has nothing else to pay attention to. This woman should be the elder Morong that Yang spoke of. It has to be said that even setting aside his cultivation base and his status as an elder, there is nothing wrong with this elder Morong's outstanding appearance and such a high popularity. When Su Han saw clearly that this female elder had reached the 8th level of Shattering Void, he was also very shocked. What the hell is this void-shattering 8th realm, the elders of Taiyi Holy Land? The 8 layers of breaking the void can already overthrow the Dagon Empire, but in this Taiyi Holy Land, there is only one elder? Before coming here, Su Han was actually mentally prepared. After all, everyone he knew was in awe of Taiyi Holy Land. However, when I really saw it, I realized that the outside world's evaluation of Taiyi Holy Land is really too conservative. Su Han has no doubts that Taiyi Holy Land only needs to send out a few elders to sweep the entire Daqin. Therefore, no matter whether Dagon destroyed Dayu or Dayu destroyed Dagon, it had nothing to do with Taiyi Holy Land and would not affect Taiyi Holy Land in the slightest. After the woman arrived, all the disciples stood up one after another. Bowing down, facing the woman on the stage, said respectfully, "Welcome Elder Morong." In the Taiyi Holy Land, no matter which elders they are their teachers and must be respected. The sound was neat and loud, echoing in the hall. Morong Xiaoxiao looked around for a week, then sat down. "Sit down." The voice contained spiritual power like a spring breeze, making all the disciples sit down unconsciously. It was the strength of the 8th level of Shattering Void. At this moment, these disciples all looked excited and looked forward to it. This is Elder Morong's evangelism class. You know, it's been a long, long time since Elder Morong came to preaching at Taoist Peak. The most recent time seems to be 100 years ago. Elder Morong has a very high status in Taiyi Holy Land. Moreover, she is very young. It is said that she has already set foot in the Shattering Void realm before she is 1,000 years old. The identity of Elder Morong is also very mysterious. She seems to be the elder of Taiyi Holy Land as soon as she arrives at Taiyi Holy Land, and she belongs to the airborne. She also seldom lives in the Holy Land of Taiyi, and only comes to Preaching Peak every few decades or 100 years to give a lecture. Although Elder Morong is not the elder with the highest cultivation level in Taiyi Holy Land, her lectures are indeed recognized as good. Today's sermon topic: mood. Morong Xiaoxiao's 2 words instantly mobilized the attention of all the disciples. Everyone was concentrating on Morong Xiaoxiao, pricked up their ears, for fear of missing any words. Hearing. State of mind. The circle is Su Han, and everyone became a little interested. Sermon. It lasted a full 10 hours. During this period, the entire hall echoed Morong Xiaoxiao's voice from the beginning to the end, without any other sounds. Everyone was engrossed in listening, fascinated. I have to say that after hearing this, Su Han also had some feelings. From the height of a broken realm, he evaluated the elder's preaching, which was really good and remarkable. Her understanding of the state of mind is very thorough, with a heavy sense of time. At this time, only then did Su Han think of something and use the sky eye. Next second, text messages about Morong Xiaoxiao appeared in his mind. Name: Morong Xiaoxiao, Chi Luck. Concentrated purple, has the potential of a trace of Dharma talent. Age: 989 years old. Cultivation: void shattering 8th realm. Life evaluation: born in Qingchu Shenshen, with the blood of Qingchu Tianyu, unparalleled talent, carrying the cause and effect of Qingchu Shenshen, practicing Tinlin immortal art, can be transferred to the 9th life, and now is the 9th life. Recent encounter: 3 years later, you will encounter the death calamity of the 9th world. and the success rate of passing through is only 10%. After reading it, Su Han almost stood up. Concentrated purple, with the potential of Dharma talent. This is the most talented monk that Su Han has encountered in the past 2 years. It has been a long time since Su Han saw the shadow of Fashong talent. From Su Han's acquisition of the system to now, he has only met Tianyue and Qingyu as the Fashong talent. He thought that it would be impossible to meet the talent of Fashong in this life. Unexpectedly, after only a few days in this Taiyi Holy Land, I met him. Although it's not entirely a pure talent of Dharma appearance, but having the talent of Dharma appearance is already very against the sky. Moreover, Su Han speculates that if this female monk named Marong Xiaoxiao wants to transform into a talent for Dharma, it may have something to do with her death 3 years later. If you pass through successfully, you will be able to transform into a Dharma talent. If you fail, you probably won't be able to die, because you don't have Black's luck, but the upper limit of this life is definitely doomed, and it is impossible to reach the upper limit height of the talent of Fashong. It seems that her identity is not simple. What Qingchu Divine Mountain should be a big force in Lingyuan continent. However, what makes Su Han strange is that this Marong Xiaoxiao's background is also very noble. Why did she come to Taiyi Holy Land to be an elder? Among them, about her life introduction, she has practiced a Tinlin immortal art, and can be reincarnated in the 9th world. What kind of heaven-defying technique is this? The current her is the last 9th life. No wonder when Su Han listened to her talk about state of mind, just now, she was full of traces of time and a heavy sense of time. Those sentiments are completely beyond the reach of a monk over 900 years old. It's only 3 years, and it's completely fine. Then it's time to invest. In this way, Su Han memorized the name, Marong Xiaoxiao. Today's sermon ends here. Go away on your own. After speaking, Marong Xiaoxiao stood up and disappeared in place. After Marong Xiaoxiao left, these disciples hadn't recovered from the state of immersion just now. After the sermon was over, he returned to his cave. Su Han was thinking about how to open up the situation. Because of his current status, he is still a little embarrassed, and it is not easy to directly invest in the disciples of Taiyi Holy Land. This is the Holy Land of Taiyi, not Fulong City, so Han had to invest low-key at first. Moreover, Su Han is just a further student. In the Holy Land of Taiyi, he has no identity background, so he has to find a gap to open. Then, invest in small batches. The first investment object is very important. At this time, Su Han's eyes lit up. In his mind, he already had an excellent candidate. This day, Yang Kai, as usual, came to inspect the mountain where Su Han was. During this period of time, his task is to manage Su Han and other trainees, and not let them run around. After all, Taiyi Holy Land has many important places of immortal sects, so you can't get close to it. In fact, the most important thing is that these advanced disciples don't understand the rules. If they go to a mountain where some elders are cleaning up and disturb those elders cleaning up, it will be bad. Are you used to it during this period of time? Yang Kai wandered around and reached Su Han's attic mansion, and greeted Su Han warmly. Well enough. Su Han replied. That's good. You advanced disciples actually don't enjoy any benefits, you just go to the mission peak to attend lectures. In other places, you can't run around. So, you still practice hard. As long as you break through to the Zifu realm, you will definitely become a formal disciple. Besides, I think you are very good. If you break through to the Purple Mansion within 3 years, I will introduce you to the elders. Maybe you can also get a position as a deacon. During the time when Yang Kai came to Su Han for a stroll, he drank a lot of good tea at Su Han's place. And after getting along for this period of time, I also appreciate Su Han more and more. At such a young age, he is already in the innate state. It is really a formidable young person. If he becomes his colleague in the future, it will be very good. Su Han's first investment object is Yang. Yang Kai is not only gold luck, but also the deacon who manages these advanced disciples. After helping him, the situation opened up, and Su Han could quietly invest in other disciples of Taiyi Holy Land. Moreover, Su Han's ambitions are not limited to his disciples. There are also middle and high-level deacons and elders of Taiyi Holy Land. Su Han thought about it. The text information about Yang Kai appeared in his mind. Name: Yang Kai Luck. Concentrated Gold Age, 2870 years old. Cultivation level: 5th level of the Purple Mansion. Life evaluation: this person belongs to the fate of a late bloomer. Although he has a good luck talent, he is too young and too impatient, suppressing his original innate luck. As he grows older, his mind gradually matures. The luck is gradually revealed, and the future can become a supreme party. Recent encounter. 20 years ago, he picked up a pitch-black stone, which was very important to him, and it was regarded as his golden finger, but he has not discovered the mystery of it for a long time, and used it to sleep on his pillow. After reading it, a trace of surprise flashed in Su-han's eyes. This unremarkable Yang Kai really possessed the luck of gold, and just as Su-han guessed in his heart, he was a late-blooming genius. Because, according to the general development of gold luck talent, he is more than 2,000 years old, so he should not be at the 5th level of the Purple Mansion. This is far from the level that a gold color talent should have. From his recent encounters, he also found the problem. The black stone he picked up 20 years ago was actually his destined golden finger, but unfortunately he didn't know what it was, so he used it as a pillow to sleep on. However, according to luck speculation, Yang Kai will definitely discover the mystery of that black stone in the future. But it may be decades, or even 100 years later. From this point also confirms that Yang Kai is a late bloomer. His rise will not begin until he discovers that the black stone is his golden finger. But when he meets Su-han, his fate will be advanced. Su-han can help him discover the mystery of the black stone in advance, shorten the development time, and speed up his rise. Even if Su-han knew that the black stone was a heaven-defying thing, it could become the existence of Yang Kai's golden finger. But Su-han won't cut the beard, because the system has already said that the black stone is his exclusive golden finger. Su-han is useless. Everyone has their own golden finger. Many children of luck rely on those golden fingers to rise rapidly. Moreover, Su-han has an investment system. What other tricks do he need? The most important thing is that it is of no use to me. It's better to help invest and get feedback rewards directly and practically. However, it is impossible for Su-han to say directly, "Brother Yang, the rock you sleep on every day is a big treasure." Say the last sentence like this. Su-han will be regarded as crazy in a second. Therefore, investment is also a science and a technology. When the two chatted enthusiastically, Yang Kai suddenly said, "Brother Su, do you know how to drink?" Hearing this, Su said, "A little bit. Come with me. I treasure a bottle of 1,000-year-old wine in my cave, and I have never had a chance to drink it. During this time, I also drank a lot of good tea with you. Let's go." Seeing that Yang Kai proposed to go to his cave, which saved Su-han a lot of trouble, he was still thinking about how to start investing. Just like that, Su-han came to Yang Kai's cave. It has to be said that Taiyi Holy Land deserves to be the #1 holy land, and the cave arranged for the deacon is even better than the mansion of the great elder of Huan Yunzong. After drinking for 3 rounds, Yang Kai's face was also a little red, and he was a little drunk. Maybe it's because he hasn't let go of drinking for a long time, but he drank to his heart's content and chatted with Su-han very happily. "Hey, Lila Wai. Don't look at me as a deacon. In fact, I know that my life is over. The Purple Mansion realm is already my limit." Yang Kai confides his heart to Su-han. He has almost no friends in Taiyi Holy Land. Although he has only been with Su-han for a short time, he admires and likes this little brother who is much, much younger than himself. Sometimes, when drinking tea with Su-han, listening to him talk, I feel that he is very mature and in a good mood, not like a monk who is only over 100 years old at all. That's why Yang Kai brought Su-huang to his cave. Because he feels that Su-han has great potential and a bright future. Of course, this is just one of them. The most important thing is that he thinks Su-han is a good person who is worth making friends with. Otherwise, I wouldn't confide in him. Brother Yang, don't underestimate yourself. You are a great power in the Zifu. No matter where you are in the Daqin Empire, you are the supreme one, and you are a sideways existence. Su-han wasn't drunk at all, but in order to match Yang Kai, his tone was a little more drunk. Thinking that monks in their state will not get drunk unless they want to get drunk and don't use spiritual power to disperse it. Hey, brother. Z Mansion is a fart. The Purple Mansion realm looks beautiful in the Daqin Empire. But as I touch the higher planes, I find myself getting lower. In front of those supreme powers of the Void Realm in the Shattering Void Realm, my little Purple Mansion realm is nothing more than an ant. Yang Kai smiled bitterly. When he was young, his personality was not what it is now. At that time, he was very arrogant, with a little cultivation strength, but he was defiant. Later, the more I practiced, the more I discovered that the subsequent realm, and raising one step, was as difficult as ascending to the sky. He had already broken through to the Zifu realm 1,000 years ago. For more than 1,000 years, he only broke through from the first level of the Purple Mansion to the fifth level of the Purple Mansion, 5 small realms. He already felt exhausted, and every time he broke through a small realm, it was as difficult as reaching the sky. In fact, Yang Kai's situation is also the situation of most monks, but their upper limit is at most the spirit sea realm, and then their potential is exhausted. When Yang Kai was young, he was still the pride of heaven, but he was stuck in the Purple Mansion realm. In my life, I can only be a small deacon. The Purple Mansion is already my limit. But Brother Su, you are different. You are so young. I feel that it is only a matter of time before you surpass me. However, my brother is someone who has experienced it, so I still want to tell you a few words of experience. While you are young and energetic, don't be complacent. You must put your mind on training. I'm not mistaken. I feel that you will definitely be able to set foot in the Void Realm, or even the Void Shattering Realm. The Void Shattering Realm may be far away, but as long as you have a dream in your heart, everything is possible. Yang Kai said these words, not only a warning to later generations, but also a kind of regret to himself when he was young. Well, I remember Brother Yang's heartfelt words. In fact, Su Han's attention was still on the black stone on Yang Kai's bed not far away. He was thinking about how to turn his attention to that. At this time, Yang Kai stood up suddenly, walked to the bed, picked up the black stone, hugged it in his arms, and continued to sit in front of Su Han. Seeing this, Su Han pretended to be surprised and asked, "Brother Yang, what are you?" "This is my pillow, I picked it up a long time ago. I used to have complicated moods, and I couldn't rest well at night. But I found that since I slept with this stone as a pillow, I slept peacefully. Even if I hugged it, I would feel much less restless and feel more at ease." Yang Kai said with a smile. From these words, it can be seen that he knows that this stone is somewhat magical, but he has not yet reached the point of paying attention to it. Next second, Su Han's consciousness landed on this pitch-black stone. Sure enough, he found something abnormal. He could find that there was a powerful energy inside the stone, but it was sealed by 10 very high-level seals. Although the power of this seal is constantly weakening, but at this rate of weakening, it will take at least several decades to be completely lifted. With Yang Kai's realm, he couldn't find this seal. But for Su Han, lifting the seal is nothing more than swaying the people. "Brother Yang, this rock, can you lend me a touch?" The words fell. Yang Kai handed the black stone to Su Han indifferently, and said, "It's okay, you can touch it as you like." After Su Han took the stone, he looked it over. After examining it carefully, he found that this black stone was of no use to him. Sure enough, as the system said, this stone was destined to belong to Yang Kai. Su Han said, "Brother Yang, this stone seems to be a treasure. You use it to sleep every day, isn't it a bit reckless?" Hearing this, Yang Kai replied, "It's not a treasure, it should be just a small thing that can cultivate the mind. I have studied it carefully for so many years and I didn't find any mystery." Suddenly, Su Han poured his spiritual power into the black stone, forming a dark energy. As long as he has a thought, the seal inside the black stone will be broken. After doing all this, Su Han returned the stone to Yang Kai, and said, "Brother Yang, I have some understanding of formations, and I can feel that there is a sealing formation inside this stone. I think this one is a nice baby." He mentioned all the words to this point. Even if Yang Kai is stupid, he should understand. "Huh. I didn't find out at all. I didn't expect that Brother Su still has extremely high attainments in formation. Okay, I'll do some research, maybe it's really a good baby." In this way, the two continued to drink. A large jar of wine was drunk by the two of them. In order to get drunk, Yang Kai let the wine numb his nerves and prepared to take a good night's sleep. "Brother Su, I won't see you off. Remember what my brother said, you have to practice hard and put all your thoughts into practice." After Yang Kai sent Su Han away, he hugged the black stone, lay on the bed, and fell into a deep sleep. When he slept until midnight, he suddenly remembered Su Han's words during the day. He suddenly opened his eyes, sat up, looked at the black stone, and murmured, "Is it really a treasure as Brother Su said?" Next second, with a burst of spiritual power, he probed into the interior of the stone. All of a sudden, his pupils constricted sharply, and he felt an extremely powerful spiritual force, which suddenly exploded inside the black stone. It directly sent Yang Kai flying, hit the wall, and then hit the ground. Regardless of the pain in his body, he fixed his eyes on the black stone. The surface of the black stone is filled with a layer of faint fairy light. He approached cautiously step by step. Immediately, The black stone turned into a black light and rushed directly into Yang Kai's dantian. At the same time, in the wooden attic, Su Han sits in front of the balcony of the attic, watching the moon and drinking tea. Suddenly, the system's announcement sounded in his mind. Investment is successful. Get feedback rewards. Hearing this voice, Su Han knew that with Su Han's help, Yang Kai had obtained his own golden finger in advance. In fact, Su Han has also invested a lot in this kind of investment before. Help them find their own opportunities in their correct path of cultivation. Although Su Han is only for investment, but for those monks who are helped by Su Han, it is equivalent to giving them the grace of regeneration. There are a lot of monks, with the help of Su Han, the trajectory of embarrassment has been shifted to a certain extent. Just like this deacon Yang Kai, without Su Han's help, he might not be able to discover his golden finger until a long time later. And Su Han helped him discover the golden finger opportunity in advance, which is equivalent to making him rise faster. Get feedback rewards. Do you want to receive it? Get it. The words fell. Rewards are as follows. 1. 10 years of deep epiphany, 10 years of cultivation and comprehension. 2. The scope of spiritual consciousness is doubled, and the strength is doubled. 3. Divine prison heavenly book, less saint rank top grade. Next second, Su Han's aura suddenly surged, and that May 4th, spiritual power turned into a dense mist and surrounded Su Han's body. Breaking the 5 realms, broken 6 realms. As expected of a gold talent, Su Han jumped 2 realms in a row and reached the broken 6th stage. If Su Han practiced honestly, he didn't know how long it would take to break through to the broken 6th level. Because of the comprehension and epiphany given by the system, it can ignore the bottleneck to a certain extent and directly break through. But if Su Han is practicing by himself, he will encounter a bottleneck, and this bottleneck needs a certain opportunity to break through. Broken realm. This realm, even breaking through a small realm, is difficult to ascend to the sky. The higher the realm, the more difficult it is to break through. For the supreme power who stepped into the broken realm, breaking through a small realm usually takes hundreds or thousands of years, which is relatively fast. Next second. In Su Han's mind, civil servants exuding golden light appeared one by one. This should be the training text of Shen Prison Heavenly Book. After reading it, Su Han was shocked and sighed. The mental method of the little holy rank is top ranked. Mind method is different from Kung Fu method, and at the same level, the method is more precious than the Kung Fu method. Mind method, very mysterious. It can be self-cultivation, or it can be self-cultivation. This Shen Prison Heavenly Book is worth Su Han to study and practice slowly. You still need gold luck talent. Su Han couldn't help sighing. Immediately afterwards, the scope of Su Han's spiritual consciousness doubled again. Su Han's original consciousness, after being scattered, can directly cover the entire Daqin. But now, once his consciousness is opened, he can even extend it. This is also one of the anti-sky effects of the system, directly improving Su Han's own attributes, such as consciousness, body, soul, etc. With Su Han's current cultivation strength, there should be no opponents in the entire Daqin. As long as he wants, he can sweep away any forces other than Taiyi Holy Land. At present, the only thing that is still unclear is how powerful the Taiyi Holy Land's peak combat power is. The next day, as expected, Yang Kai was waiting at the door of Su Han's attic early in the morning. As soon as Su Han opened the door, he saw Yang Kai hovering at the door of Su Han's attic. After seeing Su Han, the expression on his face was full of excitement and surprise. "Brother Yang, good morning." Su Han yawned and said with a smile. "Brother Su, you are my real brother, dear elder brother. In the future, we have to change our address. You call me Brother Yang, and I call you Brother Su." Yang Kai was so excited that he didn't fall asleep all night, and before dawn, he came to Su Han's courtyard early. "Why? Brother Yang, what happened?" Of course Su Han knew that Yang Kai got the golden finger, so he couldn't suppress his inner excitement. "Brother Su, you are my benefactor. Not to mention anything else, in this Taiyi Holy Land, as long as I, Yang Kai, am here, I will absolutely guarantee Brother Su's safety." Yang Kai's address to Su Han changed from Brother Su to Brother Su. In this world, strength is the most important thing, not age. If it weren't for Su Han's suggestion yesterday, he would never have discovered the mystery of the black stone, and he probably felt that it was in the way that day, so he just threw it away. Su Han knew that the golden finger was a monk's secret, and every monk had his own golden finger and secret, so Su Han would definitely not ask too many questions. Come in and sit down. Su Han opened the door and said to Yang Kai. No, no, don't sit down. Today I have to practice. After thinking about it yesterday, I think I still have to make a dash. Yang Kai got his own opportunity, so he must work hard to practice. Okay, then I won't stay. Su Han said. If you have any needs, tell me directly, as long as I can do it, I will do it for you. After finishing speaking, Yang Kai thought of something, took out a token from his cuff and handed it to Su Han. Then lowered his voice. Brother Su, originally my duty was to take care of you apprentices. However, with this token, you can enter and leave Taoist Peak at will, as long as you don't go to the peaks of some elders or the important places of the sect. Basically there is no problem. Su Han is waiting for this sentence. Investment is the first, gaining Yang Kai's trust as the second. Then thank you, Brother Yang. Su Han did not refuse and took the token. By the way, I'll give you one more thing. With a wave of Yang Kai's hand, a set of white Taoist robes floated in front of Su Han. Brother Su, this is a disciple's Taoist uniform. If you wear this Taoist uniform, no one will know that you are a disciple. You can go to the Taoist Peak every day, and there will be elders preaching in the Taoist Peak every day. However, Brother Su is not an official disciple after all. If you sit in the corner of the back row and listen to the class quietly, it will be a big problem. In just one night, Yang Kai's attitude towards Su Han has reached the point where he can take the risk of dereliction of duty to seek benefits for him. Heard the words. Su Han was a little surprised. He didn't expect Yang Kai to be able to do this. After all, it was a direct elbow to Su Han, without reservation. Thank you, Brother Yang. Su Han said. No, no, no. I'm nothing. If you need anything in the future, come to me directly. After finishing speaking, Yang Kai left in a hurry. With a wave of his hand, Su Han put on his Taoist robe. It has to be said that Su Han, who put on the fairy robe, has outstanding temperament and ethereal charm, just like a banished fairy. Now Yang Kai's relationship has been opened up. He can flex his muscles and start investing. However, Su Han's first investment targets were the deacons of Taiyi Holy Land. Because of the status of a deacon, he is higher than his disciples and lower than Chong Tu. It belongs to the middle level, linking the previous and the next. Su Han plans to start investing from deacons, and after investing for a period of time, he can completely open up the relationship at the level of deacons. In this way, Su Han can invest in disciples, and can invest in elders. That's all. During this period of time, Su Han put the target group of investment on deacons. In just 3 months, 7 or 8 deacons have already been taken down by Su Han. It has to be said that to be a deacon of the Taiyi Holy Land, there is only one in a billion. When you are young, you are a dragon and a phoenix, and there is a legendary everywhere in Daqin. Just take one out. In the Dagon Empire, legendaries' deeds can be written into a book. But such characters, under Su Han's investment, all became Su Han's mysterious brothers. When I meet Su Han, I always take one bite at a time. Unknowingly, Su Han's power in the Holy Land of Taiyi has already begun to appear. After all, this is the Holy Land of Taiyi. Su Han still can't let go of his hands and feet. He can't invest freely like in Fulong City. But, after this period of accumulation, Su Han went in and out of various mountain peaks, such as the Sutra Pavilion, Law Enforcement Hall, and Taoist Peak, basically unimpeded. This day, Su Han found Yang Kai, ready to ask a very important matter. After all, I have been in Taiyi Holy Land for 3 months, it's time to start investigating. Brother Su. Come in, come in. When Yang Kai saw Su Han coming, he immediately stopped the meditation practice in his hands and went up to meet him. Brother Su. I have been obsessed with training during this time, and I haven't gone to you for tea and drinks for quite a while. Su Han saw that at this moment, Yang Kai had broken through to the 6th level of the mansion. In 3 months, he broke through the bottleneck that had stuck him for many years. It seems that his golden finger is starting to show results. After Su Han sat down, after chatting for a while, he changed the subject and asked, I want to ask you something. Brother Su. What's the matter, please ask. After Yang Kai poured a pot of tea for Su Han, he said with a smile. As expected of getting the golden finger, the current Yang Kai looks restrained, like a sharp sword in the cold pool, waiting for the day when it will be unsheathed. I heard that there is a guardian sacred beast in the Taiyi Holy Land. I want to see it and admire its demeanor. Su Han asked straight to the point, Holy beast? I am not sure about this, I've never seen it myself. But I guess, it should be at the Holy Cliff Peak. However, the Holy Cliff Peak is a forbidden area of the Holy Land, and all disciples and deacons are not allowed to enter. Even if they are elders, only a few elders have the authority to enter the Holy Cliff Peak. Hey, Brother Su, with my authority, I can't bring you into the Holy Cliff Peak. Yang Kai looked a bit embarrassed, but he was telling the truth. After all, he was just a deacon with little authority, and he couldn't get close to Shangye Peak. Immediately, he suddenly thought of something, and said to Su Han, Elder Marong often goes in and out of Shangye Peak. However, Elder Marong is a cold person who keeps people away from thousands of miles away. She will definitely not take you into the Holy Cliff Peak. In fact, entering the Holy Cliff Peak is not a problem. Su Han only needs to know that the Holy Beast is on the Holy Cliff Peak. Everything else is not important. At this time, Su Han noticed that Chi luck behind Yang Kai. It seems to be slowly changing from gold to purple. It can be seen from this that with his own help, his luck level seems to be rising to a higher level. Okay, I understand. With that said, Su Han got up and was about to leave. At this time, Yang Kai was a little worried about Su Han, and reminded him, Brother Su, the Holy Cliff Peak is very dangerous, you can't break in at will, or I'm afraid I won't be able to protect you. Hearing this sentence, Su Han froze for a moment, then said with a smile, It's okay, I'm just asking. After speaking, he left. After seeing Su Han leave, Yang Kai sighed and said, It seems that I have to break through to the Taishu realm as soon as possible, and take the position of an elder, so that I have more power and become Su Zong's protector. Yang Kai has been planning for Su Han from beginning to end. Because he knew that if it wasn't for Su Han, he wouldn't be able to discover his chance. Although he is 2,000 years older than him in terms of age, in his heart, Su Han is also his benefactor, and he is willing to call Su Han, Brother Xie. Even if he may grow to a higher level in the future, and may not be at the same level as Su Han, he will not forget Su Han, and he will always support and help Su Han and become his guardian. Today's Yang Kai is no longer the arrogant and domineering son of a young man. He is very mature and knows how to repay his kindness. Su Han's purpose was to find out the location of the Holy Beast. Because with his strength, who can stop him? He can sneak into the Holy Cliff Peak without anyone noticing. At this time, he returned to his attic, raised his head slightly, and locked his eyes on a mountain peak. This is the Holy Cliff Peak, that Yang Kai said. Next second, Su Han slowly raised his right hand, and with a light wave, the space around him collapsed and wrapped towards his body. In an instant, his whole body turned into a particle of space and merged into the Minister of Space. Floating towards the Holy Cliff Peak. His control over the space rules has also reached a certain level of understanding, and he can perfectly conceal his aura. In this way, he passed through layers of barrier restrictions, and easily entered the Holy Cliff Peak. After entering the Holy Cliff Peak, his spiritual consciousness quietly spread out, covering the Holy Cliff Peak. Soon, he discovered two auras. He moved closer to those two auras. Immediately, he saw a familiar figure in a dense clump of purple bamboo forest. Even a simple plain dress can't hide its beauty. This woman is none other than that Elder Marong. Next second, a small black furry spirit beast swings down while pulling the purple bamboo with one hand. Came to Marong Xiaoxiao's side, rolling at her feet. Marong Xiaoxiao did not find Su Han hidden in the space. This furry spirit beast looks like a brown bear, but its hair is black, giving it a cute feeling. There is a sense of sight of panda, but there is still a certain difference from panda. Su Han has read a lot of ancient books, including a lot of illustrated books of spirit beasts. Basically, he knows most of the species of imperial spirit beasts. However, Su Han really didn't recognize the furry bear in front of him. Could it be that this is some kind of holy beast from Taiyi Holy Land? According to Yun Changli, the holy beast of the Taiyi Holy Land is not a sacred beast of the Guardian sect, but a cub fostered by the Taiyi Holy Land in the Taiyi Holy Land. This Holy Cliff Peak is full of spiritual energy. The intensity of the spiritual power is more than 4 or 5 times that of the outside, and these purple bamboos are not common purple bamboos. It is Bai Qian Zi bamboo, which belongs to a kind of precious natural material and earth treasure, and each plant can fetch a sky-high price at the auction. However, Taiyi Holy Land has directly planted such a large area, at least several thousand, tens of thousands of plants. Wealthy and powerful, it can be seen from this point that Taiyi Holy Land really raises this fluffy spirit beast as a prince. Not only that, There are 10 large formations on this holy cliff peak, and 5 of them are large formations for defense and killing. The purpose is to protect this holy beast. There are also 5 large formations, which are arranged in the southeast, northwest, and 5 directions. They are large-scale spirit-gathering formations. The spiritual power here is so strong, which is also the effect of these formations. The entire holy cliff peak, not only the Baichin purple bamboo, but also the entire mountain is planted with a variety of spiritual grasses and precious trees, creating a fairyland and a paradise. All for this little furry guy. At this time, Su Han uses Sky Eye. Next second, text messages about this little furry guy appeared in Su Han's mind. After seeing clearly, Su Dian also widened his eyes. Name: Gold Bee Iron Eater, Airluck, Jin Yi Dharma Phase. Age: 10,541 years old, Strength, Tier 4, Biographical Introduction. The Ancient Wilderness, Jin Yi became a Taoist. The Jin Yi clan won the Dao fruit in the Great World, successfully obtained the Dao, and became the Jin Yi Dao clan, a great Dao clan in the wild. The Jin Yi clan is divided into Golden Yi human race and Golden Yi beast race. Among them, the Golden Yi Iron Eating Beast is the most special race among the Golden Yi Beast clan, devouring the world, devouring good fortune. Recent encounter. The blood curse of the Tianji Dao clan, of the Tianji Dao clan, of the primordial Dao clan on the Golden Yi Beast clan, remains in the blood. Although it is very thin now, it is still not something the host can solve. It is recommended that the host give up. After reading it, Su Han was stunned for a long time. The amount of information contained in it is really too large. Ancient and wild, these are not levels that Su Han can touch. To put it simply, this fluffy little guy has the blood of a certain great clan in the ancient and barbaric era flowing in his body. In other words, the background of the identity is very extraordinary. Moreover, the luck directly reaches the Dharma phase luck. The rest of Su Han doesn't need to go too deep, anyway. He is not able to touch the level, he just needs to know that this furry little guy is a talent for Dharma. That's enough. However, when Su Han saw the text information in the column of recent encounters, his face fell down instantly. This is the first time he has seen that the system does not recommend the host to invest. This Jin Yi Iron Eating Beast has a bloodline curse in its body. This bloodline curse is also a curse once set by a certain big clan on the Golden Yi clan. As the system said, even if it is very thin, it cannot be broken by Su Dian's level. At this moment, Su Han also realized something. The Shattered Realm may be very strong, but it is not the end. The Shenyuan realm above the Shattered Realm is not the end. The road to cultivation seems to be very long, and Su Han doesn't know what level he has reached and how far he has traveled on this road. However, that is too far away. What Su Han needs to consider now is how to become stronger and how to invest in this talent. This is the talent of Dharma, and it is impossible for Su Han to let it slip away before his eyes. If it doesn't work, first use the heavenly contract technique to make a contract with it. Then think about how to invest. There must be a road before the car reaches the mountain. Anyway, Su Han will stay in this holy land of Taiyi for at least 3 years, so he can slowly grind. At this time, with a wave of Marong Xiaoxiaoyu's hand, she took out a piece of bamboo shoot that exuded a dense celestial light, and squatted down. Handed it over to this little furry guy. The little guy took this piece of bamboo shoots, and then took a bite. Baji baji, it tastes delicious. From this cute and simple appearance, it is really difficult for Su Han to combine it with the Golden Yi beast race. Half an hour. Marong Xiaoxiao fed it more than a dozen kinds of natural and earthly treasures, which propped it up on its limbs, and burped it, which was very satisfying. Seeing this scene, Marong Xiaoxiao also smiled and rubbed its little head. Then he left. After Marong Xiaoxiao left Shengye Peak, Su Han appeared in this purple bamboo forest, and walked step by step towards the little guy lying on the ground basking in the sun. When Su Han walked in front of him, the little guy still hadn't reacted. Then it felt that the sunlight was blocked by someone, so it half closed its eyes and opened its eyes, and then saw a strange human standing in front of it. Its eyes widened immediately, jumped up, hid behind a purple bamboo, and looked at this strange human vigilantly. Seeing this scene, Su Han was suddenly amused. If it wasn't for the system, even if Su Han was killed, he wouldn't have thought that this simple and cute furry little guy with extremely long reflex arcs would come from a big family. Although the little guy is only at the 4th level of strength, but he has a keen sense of smell, feels that this man is very strong. The hair on its body stood up immediately. Just when Su Han thought the little guy was going crazy or running away. Next second, he felt his calf being hugged by something. Looking down, he found that the little guy was hugging Su Han's calf tightly, and looked up at Su Han with a pitiful face. There were tears in the eyes, and the eyes seemed to be telling Su Han, don't kill me, please, please. Then, it opened its mouth, and balls of fairy light fell out of its mouth. These are all the treasures it treasures. Su Han took a closer look. These are all good treasures. Then, he looked at Su Han eagerly and told him with his actions, don't kill me, I will give you all the good things. Seeing this scene, Su Han really couldn't laugh or cry. This little guy. Is he really from the big family? Why are you so timid? Ha ha ha. Su Han squatted down, pointed to the things on the ground, and let it put away by itself. Seeing this scene, the little guy thought that Su Han was not interested in his baby, and felt that he was robbing his life rather than wealth, and almost cried out on the spot. Immediately, Su Han took out a ball from his cuff. This is Ziming Shentao. Su Han already has thousands of purple tea peaches in his hand, and there is a large peach forest in his Dandian world, which can be provided to Su Han endlessly. When the little guy smelled the unique fragrance of Shentao, his big eyes lit up, and the saliva flowed out of his mouth unconsciously. This purple tea fairy peach comes from a very distant era, and it is estimated that this era has become extinct. So, for this little guy, there is a fatal attraction. It looked at Su Han helplessly. Su Han handed the peach to the little guy. Seeing this, the little guy was also stunned for a while, carefully sized up the strange man, and then took the Shentao carefully. First a small, tentative sip. With this mouthful, its eyes directly turned into star eyes. Then, Rian's mouth goes down. My eyes are about to burst into stars. After eating for a long time, it touched its belly with endless aftertaste. Just this one fairy peach directly shortened the distance between the two of them, and most of the Jinyi Iron Eater's vigilance and fear towards Su Han disappeared. At this time, Su Han took out a few peaches and threw them to the little guy. The little guy ate it all up and down. It has been pampered for so many years, what delicious treasures have not been eaten? However, this is the first time, fortunately, to eat something so delicious. After eating, Su Han could clearly feel that the little guy's breath had strengthened a bit. Oh? It seems that this little guy can become stronger by eating? This ability is a bit against the sky. However, what surprised Su Han was, with such talent, why is he now at the 4th rank? Isn't this unreasonable? Could it be because of that blood curse? It should be the only possibility. After Su Han showed his kindness and drew closer. He was ready to try the contract. Contract first, and then find a way to invest. If this little guy can become stronger by eating, the resources of the Holy Land of Ether B will definitely provide it with an endless stream. After the contract, its practice will also be fed back to Su Han, and Han can also benefit. Su Han is running the sky deed technique. Immediately, a dense fairy light lingered around the little guy. The next second is young. Just as he was preparing the contract, a strange scene happened. The fairy light of the contract disappeared immediately when it lingered around the little guy. Moreover, it is still the kind of disappearance without warning. Immediately afterwards, Su Han ran the sky deed technique again and tried again. When the fairy light of the contract descended on it again, it disappeared immediately at the moment of contact. In this way, Su Han tried a dozen times in a row. All with the same result. Why not contract? Logically speaking, with his strength in the Shattered Realm, it would not be a problem at all to contract a 4th-order little spirit beast. Could it be that the cause and effect on this little guy is too great? Because in the introduction to the Heavenly Deed technique, if the object of the contract carries too much karma, the contract will fail. From this point, it can be seen that the karma on this little guy is still too great to make a contract. Su Han thought for a long time. The investment can't be invested for the time being, and if the contract can't be contracted, then Su Han will be very uncomfortable. The core principle of this heavenly contract technique, contracting spirit beasts, should be similar to that of the Beastmaster contracting spirit beasts. Even if there are differences, they should all lead to the same goal. So, is there another way to try? In this way, Su Han played with this little guy for a while, gave it delicious food, took it to play in his own Dandian world, and so on, so as to get closer to him. The next month, Su Han will sneak into the Holy Cliff, bring it a lot of delicious food, and then play with it for an hour or two. After a month of getting along, The little guy has completely regarded Su Han as his friend, and the relationship is very close. This day, Su Han felt the time was right. He knelt down and said to the little guy, "Little guy, are you willing to follow me?" The words fell. The Jinyi iron-eating beast blinked its eyes, and its expression became serious. Although it is usually simple, it comes from a big ancient race after all, and its mind is still relatively high. It certainly understands the meaning of Su Han's words. In terms of age, the Jinyi iron-eating beast has grown up to Su Han for countless rounds, experienced several eras, and of course met many people who said the same thing as Su Han. I also encountered some unruly and powerful human beings, who forcibly made a contract with it, and wanted to make themselves the other party's spirit beast. However, they all ended in failure. As long as it doesn't want to in its own heart, no one will succeed. However, although the human being in front of him has only been together for a month, he still has an inexplicable feeling of trustworthiness. So, it is thinking how to decide. Seeing the change in the little guy's expression, Su Han felt a little uneasy for the first time. After all, this method is only his guess and attempt. The failure of its own contract is probably because it did not accept itself in its heart. But if it recognizes itself, will it be able to successfully contract? In fact, Su Han also thought about it. If this little guy still refuses to accept him in the end, then it proves that he really has nothing to do with him, so he doesn't force it. Fate and destiny are like this. If the trajectories are destined to touch each other, then there will eventually be an intersection. Seeing the little guy struggling and hesitating extremely, Su Han smiled. He touched its head and said, "It's okay, we will still be friends in the future, and I will come to see you." With that said, Su Han stood up and was about to leave. Just when he had just taken the first step, he felt his left leg being hugged. Turning his head, he realized that the little guy hugged his leg and nodded. This moment. Only then did their fate trajectories truly intersect. To be honest, seeing this little guy accepting himself in his heart, he was still a little happy and touched. Because with this period of contact, I feel that this little guy is very cute and worth nurturing. From the beginning, he just wanted to use it as a contract to help him practice, and now, Su Han is really ready to accept it, and his mentality has undergone a 180-degree turn. At this time, Su Han was running the sky deed technique. Next second, fairy light falls around the little guy. At this time, the fairy light of the contract did not disappear, and lingered around it. Suddenly, he could clearly feel that the connection between him and the little guy had deepened, as if there was an invisible bond linking the two of them together. Immediately, the contract fairy light merged into the little guy's body. The contract is successful. It seems that Su Han's guess is right. If you want to contract a creature like the golden yi iron-eating beast that bears great karma, you must let it accept itself willingly from the heart. With the success of the contract, the little guy became closer to Su Han, circling around Su Han's feet, running back and forth, lying down and jumping up again. At this time, Su Han himself didn't realize what kind of cause and effect his contract would cause and what kind of overall situation it would break. Okay, I have to go. I'll see you again in 2 days. It is definitely impossible for Su Han to take the little guy away right now. Anyway, now that the contract has been completed, the next thing Su Han should consider is how to invest. In this way, Su Han left Shengye Peak. A few hours after Su Han left, 2 figures appeared on Shengye Peak. Among them, the figure walking in front is an old man in a white robe. Although his hair is gray, his body is not bent, and his spirit is very good. And the person following the old Taoist in white robe was none other than Yuan Lu Xiaoxiao. From the action of Mirong Xiaoxiao following the white-robed old man step by step, it can be seen that the identity of this white-robed old man is not simple. Soon, the two entered the purple bamboo forest and came before the Jinyi Iron Eater. At this time, Mirong Xiaoxiao called softly to the little guy who was lying down basking in the sun, "Xiao Zhu." After the words fell, the little guy didn't seem to hear it, and he was still lying on the ground basking in the sun. Just after Mirong Xiaoxiao was about to go over and wake him up, the old man in white robe stretched out his right hand, stopped Mirong Xiaoxiao, said in a low voice, "No need, I just came to see Xiao Zhu. Let it go to sleep." From the titles and attitudes of the two towards the iron-eating beast, it can be seen that the status of the iron-eating beast is extremely high. At this time, the old Taoist in white robe was afraid of disturbing the iron-eating beast's sleep, so he deliberately walked away before talking to Mirong Huling. "Xiao Zhu has nothing unusual recently, right?" The old man in white robe asked Mirong Xiaoxiao. No, during this time, I come here often. The appetite is better than before, but still nothing has changed. What Murong Xiaoxiao valued was the strength of the iron-eating beast. This is not important. We just need to let Xiaozu take care of it. Other things are beyond our consideration. Speaking of this, the white-robed old man thought of something, paused and continued. There is news from the Holy Kingdom, and Xiaozu will be taken back after a while. After saying this, the old man in white robe was relieved. Because the little ancestors were originally fostered by the Holy Nation, and they only played a role of protection and care. Moreover, Xiaozu is not only respected as Xiaozu in Taiyi Holy Land, but also Xiaozu in the Holy Kingdom. Therefore, during these years when Xiaozu was in Taiyi Holy Land, the entire Taiyi Holy Land basically revolved around it. He spent a lot of thought on eating, drinking, having fun, and sleeping well. Now, the Holy Nation is going to take it back, and they can breathe a sigh of relief. Otherwise, just in case Xiaozu had any accident in their Taiyi Holy Land, the anger of the Holy Nation is not something they can bear. Therefore, in their view, Taiyi Holy Land was relieved when the little ancestor of the Holy Kingdom was brought back. Xiao Xiao. During this time, I will trouble you. Xiaozu is the closest to you, and he listens to you more. This period of time is very important. No one else can be allowed to get close to Shengye Peak. Even if the sky of Taiyi Holy Land falls, Shengye Peak must be protected first. Xiaozu must absolutely not make any mistakes. The old man in white robe gave Murong Xiaoxiao repeated advice. Murong Xiaoxiao also nodded, understood. After finishing speaking, the old man in white robe left Shengye Peak. After he leaves, Murong Xiaoxiao returned to the purple bamboo forest again, came to the little guy's side, she poked the little guy's belly. No response. Then she took out a piece of spiritual fruit exuding a strong fairy fragrance, and dangled it in front of the Jinyi Iron Eater. Xiaozu, look, I brought you delicious food. The words fell. The little guy just sniffed his nose, then turned around and went back to sleep. After eating the fairy peaches given to it by Su Han, it no longer has much interest in the things Murong Xiaoxiao gave it. Seeing this, Murong Xiaoxiao also looked surprised, a little strange. On the first day, it might be because of its poor appetite and mood, but it is very strange that it has been like this for this period of time. However, Murong Xiaoxiao couldn't tell what was so strange about it. Could it be that someone else secretly came to the Holy Cliff Peak? As soon as this idea emerged, she was denied by herself. If you want to deceive her, you also need to deceive the eyes of those people in Taiyi Holy Land. Sneaking into Shengye Peak without anyone noticing, it is completely impossible. I must have thought too much. She is so sensitive not only because of Xiaozu's identity, but more importantly because of Xiaozu's blood. Xiaozu's bloodline is superior to that of the Taiyi Holy Land, even the Jinyi Holy Land. Therefore, during the time when Xiaozu was in Taiyi Holy Land, there must be no mistakes. Su Han returned to his cave. At this time, he suddenly felt something, and his body froze. He could clearly feel that there was an unfamiliar energy in his dantian. Then the next second, this strange energy quickly turned into a spiritual power suitable for Su Han and merged into his physical body. He could clearly feel that his aura became stronger a little bit. Although it was only a small change, it also caught Su Han's attention. It seems that the contract has worked. The talent of the Jinyi Iron Eater is very simple and rude, it can become stronger by eating. And after Su Han used the heavenly deed to make a contract, that is, after the little guy ate the treasures of heaven and earth, while it strengthened, it would also feed back to Su Han in turn. It is equivalent to, when the little guy cultivated by himself, he also helped Su Han cultivate. Moreover, it will not affect the little guy's own cultivation. Su Han is equivalent to sitting back and enjoying the benefits, a win-win situation. This is the horror of the heavenly deed technique. In this case, Su Han will give the little guy to eat any extra resources such as spiritual fruits, which will help him as well as himself. But, since that little guy is the baby of Taiyi Holy Land, the Holy Land will definitely not lack the resources of the little guy. The next thing Su Han needs to consider is how to help it get rid of the blood curse, so that it can invest. During this time, Su Dian did not go to Shengye Peak. Because Murong Xiaoxiao went there frequently during this period, it is estimated that she discovered something unusual. However, of course she would not find out that the little guy was contracted by herself using the heaven's deed technique. I should be worrying too much. During this period of time at Shengye Peak, Murong Xiaoxiao was basically at Shengye Peak, secretly observing Xiaozu's life, and also inquiring whether someone had sneaked into Shengya Peak secretly. But soon, she also found that Xiaozu regained his daily appetite, eating and drinking, as before. She breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that she was worrying too much. Then, another 3 months passed. Su Han invested and helped more than a dozen deacons. In the entire Taiyi Holy Land, there are only more than 30 deacons in total, and more than 20 of them have been invested by Su Han. That is to say, Su Han basically got through the relationship in the deacon circle. His cultivation has also reached the broken 7th level realm. Today's Su Han, in the circle of deacons, is so unreliable. On this day, a skinny deacon came to Su Han's mansion. This deacon, named Luohi, was cultivated in the 3rd level of the Purple Mansion. In the last month, I got the help of Su Han to solve the confusion that troubled him a lot. He also broke through from the 2nd level of the Purple Mansion to the 3rd level of the Purple Mansion. Therefore, he has always been grateful and treats Su Han as Brother Su. Kindness. Brother Luo? What's the matter with me? Su Han opened the door and saw that Luo he had been waiting for a long time. Brother Su, come quickly, come with me. Luo he waved to Su Han. What? Su Han was a little surprised. Brother Su, come with me first, I'll tell you as I go. Just like that, Su Han followed Luo he. %ZSG carat. Luo he was walking on Su Han's right. Although he was leading the way for Su Han, he was always one step behind Su Han. From this point, we can see his attitude towards Su Han. Brother Su, you don't know. You have only been in Taiyi Holy Land for half a year, and it has directly changed the pattern of our deacon circle. This gathering, all the deacons in the Holy Land are here. And, they all said, they have to wait for you to go before the banquet can begin. Every year, the Taiyi Holy Land will give all the deacons a one-day holiday. The Holy Land will provide them with high-quality immortal brewed wine, as well as many dishes that are comparable to natural materials and earthly treasures. Sky. Because the position of deacon is very special, he does not have the same management as elders. Maru's affairs are all about maintaining the order of the Holy Land, such as guarding Taoist Peak, patrolling the Holy Land, and maintaining stability. Basically, the deacons have their own tasks every month and every day. Therefore, every deacon will relax to the fullest during this day off. In the past gatherings, the circle of deacons would be divided into several factions, and they would not meet together. However, because of Su Han, all the deacons seemed to let go of their old grievances and gathered together. Su Han is still the same Su Han, no matter where he goes, he always has a kind of cohesion. In just half a year, Su Han almost turned all the deacons against him. Today's Su Han, in the Holy Land of Taiyi, except for those forbidden areas, Su Han can go wherever he wants, unimpeded. Moreover, a deacon who guards the Sutra Pavilion in the holy place even secretly told Su Han that as long as Su Han wants to enter the Sutra Pavilion to secretly learn exercises, he can quietly take Su Han in. On the contrary, the daily itineraries of the disciples who came to Taiyi Holy Land to study together with Su Han were not only restricted, but also monitored. And Su Han is about to become the big brother of these deacons? This is the gap, no matter where Su Han hangs out, he can hang out. Soon, Yin Han was led by Luohi, entered a fairy palace. At a glance, all the deacons, all present, most of them are all the objects that Su Han has invested in, and he is very familiar with them. Among them, there were only a few unfamiliar faces, and they looked at Su Han in amazement. On the table made of red sandalwood and fairywood, there is a full feast of man and Han, all of which are some rare fairy fruits and dishes made of high-grade spirit animal meat. The dishes of the Manchu banquet are not common dishes. If you take any of them to the outside world, they are all priceless. Taiyi Holy Land, I'm still willing to give it up, it's still humanized. In this way, letting them completely indulge one day every year will increase their goodwill and sense of belonging to the Holy Land. After seeing Su Han coming, almost everyone stood up, clasped their fists together, and gave it number. Then, I left a top 8 for Su Han to show my respect to him. After Su Han sat down, he said with a smile, "Everyone eat and drink well, don't worry about me." Soon, the scene also started to get lively. Perhaps the Holy Land is too serious and depressing on weekdays, and they all want to release it. So they are very open at the moment, everyone is begging to get drunk. The immortal brewed wine provided by Taiyi Holy Land is not an ordinary wine. Every drop contains majestic and fiery energy, and these deacons are all seeking to get drunk. In less than an hour, everyone was completely drunk. At this time, the deacons who had been helped by Su Han all came to Su Han to toast. In fact, the words are very similar. If it wasn't for Brother Su, I, Lin, wouldn't even know that the poison in my body has spread all over my internal organs. Brother Su saved my life. Brother Su, even though you are young, I am willing to call you brother. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even know that I was on the verge of going mad. Brother Su, without your help, I might still be standing still. During this period of time, I am responsible for all the security affairs of the Buddhist scripture pavilion. As long as you say a word, I will take you directly into the small road, Sutra Pavilion. Words of thanks like this lingered in Su Han's ears. From this series of performances, we can see how high Su Han's reputation among these deacons is. Among them, some deacons with unfamiliar faces all came to toast flatteringly, because this Brother Su has great powers and can solve countless puzzles. However, Su Han did not see Yang Kai at this party. Since the last time I saw him, he seemed to be locked up in his own cave. At this time, the wine is almost gone. Many deacons have already fallen to the ground drunk. There are only 3 or 4 deacons left, still toasting with Su Han. However, as we talked about the true and false sons. Next second, Luohi, who was not drunk yet, made a booing gesture. This is a taboo in the sect. Do you want to harm Brother Su and the big guys by saying it? After the words fell, the deacon said, "My fault, I'm sorry," and then immediately closed his mouth. At this time, Su Han became interested, and said, "This is the first time I've heard of the true and false Holy Son." Because before coming to Taiyi Holy Land, Yun Changli also told him about the true Holy Son, so Su Guo had to be extremely cautious. Su Han's words fell. Luo He and the others looked at each other in blank dismay, since Su Han took the initiative to ask. Nor are they going to hide. Immediately, Luo He lowered his voice, and said to Su Han, "Brother Su, what I'm going to say next, you must never say it out." In an instant, several deacons, including Luo He, who were still awake, also became serious. At this moment, Luo He lowered his voice and whispered, "Brother Su, you have been in Taiyi Holy Land for more than half a year, and of course you know Shengza Zhang. Zhang Shengza, named Zhang Hao, is the unborn holy son of Taiyi Holy Land." Hearing this, Su Han nodded. "It has been half a year since I came to Taiyi, and I have a clear understanding of the power distribution and structure distribution of Taiyi Holy Land. Although, the disciples of the Taiyi Holy Land do not have a clear hierarchy, and there are no outer disciples or inner disciples. But there is one special thing, that is Zhang Hao, Zhang Shengza. He has his own exclusive mountain named Shengza Peak, which is the exclusive mountain of the Son of God in the past dynasties, a bit like the Eastern Palace. Brother Su, the true and false Holy Son means that Holy Son Zhang is a false Holy Son, and the real Holy Son is someone else. After all, Luo He is also an old deacon. After all these years in Taiyi Holy Land, he dealt with the disciples first and the elders first, and of course he also learned some lucky secrets. Brother Luo means Zhang Shengza is just a false name? Is it an identity that doesn't exist? Su Han asked, pretending to be puzzled. After saying that, Luo He immediately waved his hands and said, "No, no, Brother Su, Shengza Zhang was already the Holy Son of Taiyi Holy Land hundreds of years ago. We have all seen it before. Hundreds of years ago, the strength of that Zhang Shengza has far surpassed ours. Now, I don't know what kind of realm he is. Zhang Shengza, worthy of the name, is the Holy Son of Taiyi Holy Land. His talent is indeed the best in the great Qian Empire, but I heard that the real son of Taiyi Holy Land is not him." Heard the words. Su Han asked in surprise, "Who is that?" Finally, it came to the most critical issue. Su Han also wanted to know where the real Holy Son was. "In fact, I do not know. I'm not quite sure whether there is a true or false Son of God. It may be just our speculation. However, when I was drinking with an elder, he accidentally slipped his mouth. He said that the real Holy Son is still in Taiyi Holy Land." Luo He said reminiscently. Hear this. A celestial light flashed in Su Han's pupils. He probably guessed where the real Holy Son was. It should be hidden among those common disciples in Taiyi Holy Land. Because, if the Holy Son Zhang Hao is to be used as a cover, then the real Holy Son from the Holy Kingdom must be hiding among the common disciples. A gold yi iron-eating beast, a true Holy Son, all from the Taiyi Holy Kingdom. According to Yun Changli, the Taiyi Holy Land is just a small branch of the Taiyi Holy Kingdom. Then, Why did the Holy Kingdom of Taiyi send them here? But that's not what Su Han cares about either. Anyway, the Jinyi iron-eating beast has been contracted by Su Han now, and it can be regarded as really following Su Han. The real son, Su Han, will also make an investment depending on his luck. No matter how deeply he hides, Rike is useless in front of his eyes of heaven. Brother Su, at your age, you have already consummated. After a while, becoming an official disciple of the Taiyi Holy Land is a certainty. When Brother Su sets foot in the Purple Mansion, the few of us have also discussed it. As soon as Brother Su sets foot in the Purple Mansion, we will go to the Shilu Hall together, find Elder Gu, and apply for the position of deacon for Brother Su. Luo he changed the subject and talked about Su Han's regularization. Because, although every few decades, or even hundreds of years, there will be a group of outside disciples who will enter the Taiyi Holy Land for further study. But in the end, there are only a handful of people who can stay in Taiyi Holy Land. This party lasted until late at night. The usually unsmiling and indifferent deacons were all drunk and unconscious at the moment. The next day, these deacons immediately returned to work. After yesterday's gathering, the relationship between Su Han and these deacons has taken a step further. After more than half a year of investment management, Su Han has completely established himself in Taiyi Holy Land. The deacons are also invested. Su Han's next target is going to be placed on the disciples of the Holy Land. After all, the Taiyi Holy Land never opened any halls for accepting disciples. Basically, the elders of the Taiyi Holy Land went down the mountain by themselves, looking for seedlings of cultivating immortals. Disciple of the Holy Land, important. Because some disciples were brought by the elders of the Taiyi Holy Land down the mountain to some small towns to bring them to the Holy Land. As long as you are not favored by Taiyi, no matter if you are the prince of the royal family or the young master of a big family, it is impossible to enter the Holy Land of Taiyi. There is no such thing as going behind. With such a screening method, the quality of Taiyi Holy Land disciples is ridiculously high. This day, Su Han put on his disciple's fairy robe and went to Chuan Dao Peak. Taoist Peak is one of the places with the highest traffic in Taiyi Holy Land. When Su Han reached the Chuan Dao Peak, he saw Deacon Lu standing at the gate of the Chuan Dao Peak to guard and patrol. Seeing Su Han falling over, he greeted him with a smile. Not only let Su Han go directly, but also personally led Su Han into the Taoist Peak. This scene was also seen by several disciples of the Holy Land, and they all showed surprised expressions. Hey, who is that disciple? He has such a good relationship with Lu Shi. Deacon Lu is notoriously strict. No matter what your status is, he treats you equally. But why do you have such a flattering expression towards that disciple? I don't know, but that disciple's face is so strange. Me too. I feel a little strange, but it's normal. Our Holy Land is so big. There are many brothers and sisters who have retreated for decades and hundreds of years, and we have only entered the Holy Land for less than 300 years. It's normal not to know each other. It should be a brother who came out of a certain regiment. After entering Taoist Peak, it just so happened that an elder was preaching today. Although it was not as lively as the day when Marong Xiaoxiao preached, dozens of disciples came. Because, although there will be sermons every month, not all disciples will go to every sermon. Moreover, most of the disciples may go to Chuan Dao Peak 3 or 4 times a year, and for the rest of the time, they practice hard on their own. After all, what is learned on paper is always superficial, and practice cannot just stay in theory, you must come down and try it yourself. After listening to an elder's sermon, it will definitely take a lot of time to digest and try, and you can't chew too much. The elder who preached today is a rickety old man whose cultivation base is in the 8th level of Taishu. His name is Yuanchu, and he is a veteran preaching elder in Taiyi Holy Land. After all, not all the elders in Taiyi Holy Land have time to preach. Just like Elder Marong half a year ago, he only preached once in decades or hundreds of years. The elders are also monks, and they also want to pursue a higher level of cultivation. Therefore, 50% of the sermons were given by this elder Yuanchu. After all, he is at the 8th stage of the Taishu realm, and he has been preaching for so many years, with rich experience, and he has no pursuit of higher cultivation. The Taishu realm is almost at the limit, so he concentrates on preaching to his disciples. However, the disciples of Taiyi Holy Land, their talents, are peerless in the outside world. Therefore, even if Yuanchu is in the 8th stage of Taishu, his cultivation base is very high. But if it's purely about comprehension, he can't compare with those top disciples, but it's more than enough to help the middle and lower disciples in the sect. Su Han walked into the fairy palace. it was discovered that there were also many disciples sitting there, probably 20 or 30. The cultivation strength of these disciples is on average in the spirit sea realm. The high ones have reached the Shanshan realm, and the low ones are only in the Gu Yuan realm. They should all be disciples who have just started, because the expressions on the faces of old disciples and new disciples are very different. From this uneven cultivation, it can be seen that the way of accepting disciples in Taiyi Holy Land is really special. But I have to say that the Taiyi Holy Land's vision is very good. These disciples are basically blue luck. Even the monk who is only in the Yuan state, the luck has reached the light blue. Name: Lu Tianyi Airluck, light blue age, 89 years old. Cultivation level: Lingai 5th level realm. Name: Yang Zhen Fortune, blue age, 78 years old. Cultivation: 7th level of the spiritual sea. Name: Han Hao Luck, deep blue age, 28 years old. Cultivation: innate 5th level realm. Name: Ma Beoguo, Airluck, light blue age, 51, cultivation level, Gu Yuan triple realm. Su Han looked around, but didn't find Gold's luck, so he sighed in disappointment. But it's normal, because he heard that Elder Yuan has been teaching here for many years, and except for some new disciples who come to listen, those top disciples basically won't come. However, blue luck is also meat. Compared with Su Han, who has tens of thousands of people outside, hundreds of thousands of people can find a blue luck, which is much better. Su Han set his target on this innate 5th level disciple named Han Hao. After the sermon, Su Han followed Han Hao. His latest encounter required a 6th grade Taiyuan pill, a piece of 1,000-year-old cold iron, and some very uncommon materials. But Su Han has all these things, and there are a lot of them. How boring. After investing for so many years, Su Han reported that he has received so many resources that he doesn't know how to spend them. In this way, Su Han successfully invested. With good luck, I got 3 years of cultivation experience, 1 million pieces of Wanian cold iron, and a lot of precious materials. This day, Su Han continued to come to Wancho's preaching class. Most of today are faces from last time, and a small half are unfamiliar faces. Name: Wan Jinshan Luck, concentrated blue. Age: 39 years old. Cultivation: innate Trinity realm. Name: Yi Xin Fortune, blue age, 29 years old. Cultivation level: 2nd level of Lingai. Su Han looked at those unfamiliar faces and found that they were all due to blue's luck. At this time, a young girl stumbled in and stood at the door, somewhat at a loss. Immediately, facing Yuan Chu on the podium, she bent heavily and said, "Mr. Yuan, I'm sorry, I'm late." Goose egg face, all at once red to the neck. At this time, Su Han also noticed this reckless girl. Immediately, he frowned slightly. "Mortal?" I heard the girl apologize. Yuan Chu just glanced at her and said nothing. "I'm not late for my preaching class. Come whenever you want, and go whenever you want." Heard the words. The girl walked to the last row, then stood next to Su Han, and said, "Brother, is there anyone next to you?" Su Han just shook his head. "Thanks." After getting the answer, the girl sat down. After sitting down, face was still flushed, and it didn't fade away. Although her attention was on the preaching class, she was quietly looking at Su Han from the corner of her eye. Some time ago, she met an inexplicable old Taoist priest, and then inexplicably was taken to the sky, and then, inexplicably sat here. Although she is the princess of a country, the empire she is in is just a mortal empire. In the territory of the Great Qian Empire, there are also countless mortal empires. Those mortal empires are not like the royal family of the Dagon Empire. The royal family of the Dagon Empire belongs to the imperial family of the immortal Cultivation Empire. But those mortal empires are just ordinary mortals. There are dynasties. Alternate, there are ebb and flow, there are years of change. In this girl's cognitive view, there are immortals in the world, and there are immortal sects. As for the Taiyi Holy Land, a transcendent holy land that surpasses the Dagon Empire, she definitely has no access to it, and she doesn't know about it. She thought that she was just brought into the sect of cultivating immortals by some immortal, but she didn't expect the status and strength of Taiyi Holy Land. However, the girl's mind seemed to be completely off the sermon class. It was on the body of senior brother Shanran sitting next to her. This immortal brother is so handsome, just like a banished immortal walking out of a painting. Although the girl's expression was calm, she was a little nympho excited inside. How could Su Han not notice that the girl was secretly looking at him? How does a mortal enter the holy land of Taiyi? At this time, Su Han opened the eye of the sky. Next second, textual information about the girl appeared in Su Han's mind. After watching it, Su Han almost stood up. Name: Li Yi. Luck: forget Dao Dharma, broken, age, 19 years old. Cultivation: no cultivation biography. In the chaotic years of ancient times, I forgot the Tao at the beginning. Recent encounter: gathering qi is very difficult. After reading it, Su Han couldn't believe it, so he read it word by word. In the end, his gaze settled on the 4 characters, forget the Tao Dharma. Physique talent. This is the 5th Dharma aspect talent that Su Han has encountered. If he didn't use the sky eye to check, he would never have thought that this delicate girl actually possessed the talent of Dharma. Moreover, this Dharma appearance is very special. Forget about the law. For example, Tianyu's Dharma image of Tinluan as a phantom of Qingluan, and Jin Yuanbao's Dharma image of God of Wealth as a golden ingot. And the Dharma appearance of this delicate and innocent girl has no concrete image, nothing at all. Forget about love. Some illusory feeling. Moreover, there are only a few words in Li Yi's biography. In the chaos of ancient times, Taoism was taboo at the beginning. There are only these 8 characters. This made Su Han a little curious about the identity of this charming girl. Among them, there is another strange point. Behind Li Yi's, forgetting Dao Fashang, there are a few small words, broken. At this time, just when Su Han was about to strike up a conversation. Okay, today's sermon is over, everyone leave on their own. After finishing speaking, Yuan Hu left. Li Yi still sat where she was, not knowing where to go for a while. To be precise, she couldn't find her way back to her mansion. Because the Taiyi Holy Land is too big, it is also very dangerous for a mortal like her who has no spiritual power. Because this was the 3rd day she came here, the old Taoist priest who brought her here threw her here, and then disappeared. At this time, she took a deep breath, summoned up her courage, turned her head, and asked tentatively to the immortal brother next to her, "Senior brother, can you take me home?" Just said a word. Li Yi blushed a lot. That. My name is Li Yi, I'm a new disciple here, and I'm not familiar with this place. Su Han asked, "Where do you live?" It seems to be called Luoxia Peak. The words fell. Su Han stood up and walked to the front, "Come with me." Just like that, Li Yi followed Su Han step by step. Soon, Su Han came to Luoxia Peak. At this time, it was Luo he who was on duty around Luoxia Peak today. Seeing Su Han's arrival, he greeted him immediately. "Brother Su, are you going to repair it?" Hearing this, Su Han nodded. "Come with me. Luoxia Peak is the peak where the new disciples of Taiyi Holy Land live." At this moment, Li Yi was following Su Han, feeling both excited and admiring. This powerful immortal in black clothes is the deacon here, and his status is higher than that of his disciples. In the past 2 days, she saw many disciples going in and out of Luoxia Peak, and when she saw this black-clothed deacon, she would respectfully call out, "Deacon Luo." However, this Deacon Luo respects this handsome immortal brother very much. It seems that I seem to have met an incredible senior brother. After entering the Sunset Peak, Luo he said to Su Han, "Brother Su, I'm on duty first, if you need anything, just come to me." In front of the cave, Li Yi said with a smile, "Thank you, senior brother, that. May I know the name of senior brother?" After finishing speaking, Li Yi remembered the etiquette, and said her own name first, "My name is Li Yi." Su Han. Su Han didn't understand why Li Yi has the talent of Dharma, but hasn't gathered Qi yet. Even White's talent is already gathered at this age. Could it be because of broken, because in the column of Li Yi's talent, the word broken was also marked. This made Su Han feel very strange. This is the first time he has encountered such a situation. However, Su Han decided to help her gather Qi to succeed and see if she could invest in feedback. At this time, Su Han asked Li Yi, "Do you know where this is?" "I don't know, it seems to be called a holy place. I've only been here for a few days, and I don't know many places, and I don't know the way. If it wasn't for senior brother Su's help, I might not be able to find a place to live." "Then how did you come here?" Su Han felt very strange, because no matter where Li Yi looked at it, she was just an ordinary mortal. This is the Holy Land of Taiyi, the highest holy land that all the monks in the Dagon Empire yearn for. How did Li Yi get in here? Su Han couldn't believe that it was because some important person in the Holy Land discovered Li Yi's talent. Because if Su Han didn't use the eye of the sky to check, he would also think that Li Yi is just an ordinary mortal. I don't know, it was an old grandfather who came to me. Li Yi said. That old man, do you remember what he looked like? A hint of surprise flashed in Su Han's eyes. In this Tai Holy Land, is there really someone who can see Li Yi's talent? I don't remember, because I can't see his face clearly. However, that old man is not from here. He sent me to the door, gave me a token, and left. Later, a white-haired elder in the Holy Land should be an elder, because I saw that when he appeared, everyone around respected him very much. After the white-haired elder saw the jade pendant, he made me a disciple of this place and lived in this Luoxia peak. After listening, Su Han frowned, always feeling as if something was wrong. It seems that there is a pair of invisible big hands behind, pushing Li Yi here. In the world of cultivating immortals, there is a popular saying, cultivating immortals has a destiny of cultivating immortals. That is to say, people who are destined to be extraordinary will follow the gears of fate and push them to the crossroads. At this time, Li Yi suddenly thought of something and said, by the way, brother, you should have seen my aunt. Hearing this, Su Han was a little puzzled. Auntie? Aunt? Su Han asked with some surprise. My aunt's name is Li Qingren. When I came here, the white-haired elder told me that my aunt was also here. Li Yi felt that this senior brother had such prestige here that he should know his aunt. Since she was very young, in her memory, her aunt has gone to far, far places. According to my father and the elders in the family, my aunt has become a human being. Immortal, that is a great man who stands high above the ground. Later, when she remembered, her aunt came back twice, and Li Yi also asked where her aunt went. However, my aunt would say that I went to a place far, far away. In fact, when she was brought here and chose to stay, it was because her aunt was also here. Li Qingren. This name, Su Han, is a little strange and a little familiar. He seems to have heard this name somewhere. I haven't been here for long, just a few months. Your aunt, I probably haven't seen her before. Su Han said. He felt that Li Yi's aunt should be behind her to reach the Tai Holy Land. Otherwise, she is immortal and has not shown any talent. How could she be able to enter the Tai Holy Land? Could it be that the big invisible hands behind Li Yi's contact with Shuxian were her aunt? If so, Su Han became a little interested in that Li Qingren, because Li Yi is both talented in law, so maybe Ji Qing is too. Because Qing Qingyu is an example, they are twins, and both of them are apex magic talent. I didn't find it either. I also asked several senior sisters about my aunt, but they all said they had never heard of my aunt. Li Yi was a little disappointed. That senior brother is so powerful, he has only been here for a short time, and he is so powerful. She has met many senior brothers and sisters who are very respectful and polite to the deacon, but this senior brother Su is different. This senior brother Su gave her the feeling that he was very mysterious and powerful. Are you here to find your aunt, or do you want to practice? Su Han changed the subject, because Li Yi's recent experience is that she needs to gather energy. Of course, Su Han couldn't let go of this investment opportunity. He had to help Li Yi gather qi before she could gather qi. With Su Han's strength, he only needs to wave his hand to help her gather energy. But Su Han's purpose is that it is impossible to help invest for no reason as soon as we meet. We must first check whether it is worth investing, whether it is possible to invest, whether it is possible to invest. Actually, I also want to be a very powerful fairy. Li Yi admired her aunt since she was a child, because she is a fairy, she can be carefree and go anywhere she wants. And Li Yi once asked her aunt to teach her. But my aunt would say things that she didn't quite understand, saying that she was not yet of age. Gathering qi. Can I become a fairy? After Li Yi came here, she also knew about the realm. It is said that the first step to becoming a fairy is to gather qi. In her eyes, as well as in the eyes of mortals, anyone who can fly into the sky and escape from the ground, and can do some supernatural things, is considered a fairy. Theoretically, yes. Su Han said. Brother, then I will work hard and become a qi-gathering immortal as soon as possible. Senior brother Su, thank you for sending me back. Brother, go and get busy, I won't waste your time. Li Yi said with a smile. Hearing this, Su Han nodded and disappeared in place. Su Han was going to observe secretly for a few days. Choose the most suitable time to shoot. In a few days, he first went to inquire about that Li Qingren. Because he always felt that Li Yi was able to come here, and there was something driving behind it. This day, Su Han found Yang Kai. When he saw Yang Kai again, he was surprised to find that Yang Kai had reached the 8th level of the Purple Mansion. It seems that Su Han helped him find the Golden Finger, which greatly increased the speed of his rise. Yang Kai also told Su Han about his plan. After he is going to break through to the Taishu realm, he will go to the Elder Assessment. If he can become an elder in the Taiyi Holy Land, his status, power and even resources will make a qualitative leap. The treatment he enjoys is not comparable to that of a small deacon. Yang Kai also patted his chest and said, after he became an elder, the first thing he did was to directly help Su Han become an official disciple of Taiyi Holy Land, and then find a way to arrange a deacon position for Su Han. For Yang Kai's promise to repay, although it is useless to Su Han. His strength has long been able to beat the elders of Taiyi Holy Land. However, Su Han is still very relieved, because at least this Yang Kai has that gratitude. Brother Yang, have you heard of Li Qingren? While chatting, Su Han suddenly mentioned the name. Li Qingren? Yang Kai showed a reminiscing look, recalled it for a long time, then shook his head and said, I don't know. But I feel that this name is somewhat familiar. At this time, Yang Kai suddenly thought of something, stood up suddenly, walked to the bookshelf next to the bed, and picked up a yellowed book. He opened the book, turned to the last page, and his eyes lit up. Immediately, Yang Kai returned to his seat, handed the yellowed book to Su Han and said, no wonder I feel this name is so familiar. Brother Su, you will know when you turn to the last page of this book. Su Han took the book. When he saw clearly the words on the cover of this book, his eyes suddenly widened, and he felt a sense of enlightenment and an unbelievable feeling.